What is up, everyone? What was that look on your face?
I wasn't expecting to go live. Right? I thought there was going to be another video.
There's me fixing my hair. You're
Got you all. Well, Thank you everybody for tuning in. I see a lot of our regulars, and I also see a lot of new faces here, and even some familiar faces like Lori. What's up, Lori? Good to see you. My tube, how's it going? We got Bree, Breezy, Hillary, Donna. There's so many of you here. I'm not going to be able to say hi to all of you, but I just want to thank you all for tuning in. We are streaming on everything right now because we got one big story to tell. And as you can see, there is a third with us tonight that a lot of you that follow us may not know, but this is Mary Jo. And Mary Jo has had an experience very similar to us at the Enfield house. However, her story continues much longer on, and we are going to dive deep into that tonight with the harassment and all the stuff that you had to deal with after just trying to go and do a paranormal investigation. It's insane.
Are still dealing with. I mean, this is recent.
Yeah.
You guys are really breaking up. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Up? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we can. You're freezing up on our end pretty bad.
What's that?
I said you were freezing up on our end, like we could hear your voice, but we couldn't see your mouth moving.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Oh no. Do you want to try
it? Like break it in and out.
Wow. Boston, do you want to text her and troubleshoot with her a little bit? And I will talk for a little while.
All right.
So,
if you switch phones, is that okay?
Yeah. I'll actually, why don't you leave the studio? So exit the studio from here and then just use that link that I gave you and you can come right back up.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay.
All right. So she's going to try to get a better connection. So a few weeks ago, we did a live, and it was about the Enfield Demon House. Now, this is not to confuse it with the Enfield House in, was it London?
The UK. I don't think it's London, but
so
where the
this
British
is a house
people are from.
Yeah, it's a welcome. It's a Donna. See, Donna knows where it is. So we are. Me and Boston went. When was it that we went? It was last
July.
July 2023. Right. Yep.
Yes.
Because we're not there in 24 yet. So we went there, and we were there only for a short time. We did not last the whole night because of, should we say, boredom?
I think we spent like 2.5 to maybe 3 hours at the house before we left to get dinner. Yeah, just talking. And for anyone that has met Jay Apel, you know exactly what we're talking about. So if you are paranormal
can you do me a favor and fill people in on the story that the Enfield house is supposed to be? A very brief summary.
Like, really?
Take that 3-hour story and put it down to, oh, here we go.
Yeah, I want to hear what Mary Jo has to say with that question too. Can you hear us better?
Yeah, it must have been because I had TikTok on too. I think it was between all of them. So I just shut it down. I'll replay it later. Okay, I hear you now.
Awesome. All right. So I had just asked Boston because we got a lot of people, some paranormal and some that are not. How was the Enfield Demon House sold to you? Like, what was the story that made you say, hey, this is what I'm hoping to get when I'm there. And then when you got there, it wasn't.
Yeah. So like before you even went, maybe even before you heard about Jay or met them, like what was the house to you?
I didn't hear about that house, and a lot of people I know that live in that area didn't even know about that house. So when I was told about it, I'm like, wait a minute, Enfield Demon House. I'm thinking, I guess Lorraine, and they said Lorraine Warren was there. So first thing I'm thinking, oh my God, it's it's a true thing. It's Lorraine Warren. I want to go there because Lorraine was there. But then when I realized, oh, that's not the UK, obviously, because that's you hear Enfield, right. And I'm thinking, okay, that's where the girls were being possessed. But then I'm like, wait a minute, that's in the UK. So when I start reading into some more, I read like, who was there, and that she did go there. They did do an exorcism of the house. So I just wanted to see for myself, because the homeowner still said that the entity still, resides in that house. But supposedly they got rid of it. But it came back, or it's still there. So I wanted to see for myself, because everybody was so scared about this house. But doing research, I couldn't find anything on the internet, just a couple TV shows that was hard to find, which I didn't watch. And I still have to this day have not watched it. Those, because you have to pay for them to watch. But yeah. I didn't want to go in there knowing what happened. I wanted to see my own experiences and do my own thing. But yeah, that's the only thing I found in that house was the 2 episodes. And of course, the homeowners told us to watch the episodes, and I didn't.
Right.
All,
well, very similar to you, but for me, I did watch the episodes.
I watched the episodes too. Yeah.
And Kris and I think both came away. Again, this was before we went to the house, just like before you went to the house. First impressions. We both watched those episodes, and we were like, all right, so I know we're fairly new in the paranormal world, right? But we'd been lucky enough to really like slam a ton of locations, and get through a bunch of different places and investigate. And we had some wild experiences, but we're watching these TV shows, and we get off, or we finish watching, we get on the phone with each other, and we both are like, all right, so either this place is going to be like the craziest, darkest, insane experience that we will ever encounter, or it's a complete scam. So like we were open-minded, but we had, because the stories, you guys, that are told by Jay during the 3-hour pre-talk, right? And what you hear on the TV episodes that he did are like people being picked up and thrown across the rooms, and blood all over their kids that came from nowhere, and like bloody handprints all over the walls when their kids were babies, and being thrown down the stairs, like just crazy stuff, right? Like stuff right. That you hear some similar stories, not with the blood and stuff, but as far as people being physically like launched from the Conjuring house. And I've been many times to the Conjuring house. Kris has been a few times, but you walk in there and you feel like, okay, I'd believe that. You know what I mean? Like you have that, like this is dark, but there's also this light there too. It's that weird Conjuring house feeling.
Right. So when I talked to somebody about that house, because when I found they lived near that house, I asked him a couple questions, and he was on that show, and he said, the walls were bleeding. I'm like, the walls were bleeding? So I'm like, being in this for a while, I'm thinking the walls were bleeding, but I'm thinking, you know what? You don't know what can happen. I did ask Jay about the walls bleeding. He said, no, that was made up for the TV. I'm like, okay, and that does happen,
Right.
But being at the Conjuring house many, many of times, when my first experience was there was back in 2019. There wasn't very many people there. I was actually there a couple weeks after Ghost Adventures. That's how long ago it was. And when I drove into that driveway, the gut feeling I got was like, this was a bad mistake. But it was like, we got crazy stuff that first night. And every time I go there, I get crazy stuff. Whatever that energy is in that area, it goes
it's
with
the area.
People. Yes.
And it's funny you said the driveway, because for me, and I think Kris can probably attest to this too, it's like maybe a half a mile before you even get to the driveway is when I start feeling the feels.
See, mine's the barn. I feel that barn is the center of that whole thing to me. When I go in that barn, I've gotten hit in that barn. I don't get touched very often. I got hits where I got a bruise. And I'm like, I was on a live. I'm like, did you guys just catch that? And we thought they got it, but it was like I was kind of like an inch off. But did it hurt? And I left. It got a big bruise on my leg, like a really big bruise. But that feeling between the Conjuring house, I thought I was going to get the same feeling with the Demon house.
Right.
I walked in there and I'm just like, I felt like I was in Grandmom's house. It was just normal, like any day house. Usually when you go into some of these places, you feel the energy. It's like amped up. Nothing like that at all. I got more bad energy coming from the homeowners than I did with the house. But that's just me. You know,
same.
I didn't feel anything. I'm being honest. I didn't feel anything. But then again, sometimes we have cases we don't feel anything.
That's true. It doesn't mean, and I want all three of us to make sure everyone's hearing all three of us loud and clear. We understand that you're not going to have even if the place is touted as being like the most haunted place in the world, you may not necessarily have an experience, right? Like we totally get that. That is not, I don't think, any of our issue with the Enfield house, right?
Right.
So what I base,
and I was going to make this clear for people to understand this. Like, I think that house was haunted before. Do I think there was something in there? Because the people that were into that house, Joe Frankie, yes, I believe that they did clear whatever. And again, I didn't see the videos. I never saw their proof, but I believe those people. They have no reason to lie. And like Lorraine being there, and Lorraine did want to go to that house. She did want to go inside that house, but somebody made a phone call and asked, please do not let Lorraine in this house.
Where'd you hear that?
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, because you know that the story is different that's being told by Jay, right?
Yes, and he's been told many of times to stop lying about that. So Lorraine Lorraine was asked not to go in there by somebody in her family. I'll leave it at that. And that's she wanted to go into that house. And Jay was well aware of this. But he's telling people that. And that's why I even said to him, well, but that's besides the point. Lorraine did want to go in there, but she was asked not to go in there by family members. I guess just maybe what was going on. Who knows? I don't know if something was going on at that time in her life. I don't know. I didn't.
Maybe they met Jay and were like, ooh.
Yeah,
stay away from him.
Yeah, I didn't get into that part. Yeah. They said that she wanted to go in there. She was not afraid of that house at all.
Interesting.
And he might change his story now because they keep saying to him, stop saying that, because that's not true. So he might change it and say, listen, I didn't mean it like that. I don't know, because I don't really want to go there. But there's other people that did it. I truly believe that they know that the house was haunted, and they cleared it. They cleared it of that entity, whatever. It was cleared out. And it was quiet this whole time. They went on TV. It was quiet, supposedly, as what Jay told me. It was quiet since TV. And the reason why they stopped doing tours or start talking about it, because the Catholic school, and this was said on multiple podcasts now, not coming from Jay, but on a podcast. The first thing he said, that the Catholic Church kicked them out because of them talking about the haunted house. And the Catholic Church kicked the girls out of school. I don't know. That's what Jay put on his podcast. And then the other one was the girls were so scared they couldn't use the bathroom at school because it was dark. And that's why they removed them out of a Catholic school. So I don't know.
That doesn't make sense with Catholicism, because Catholicism is the part of Christianity, Catholicism in general. A lot of different Christian sects are like anti-ghosts or demons, or whereas Catholicism acknowledges their existence, and especially demons, exorcisms, etc. That's very strong in the Catholic faith. So I'm shocked that they would kick them out of Catholic school.
Yeah, well, Elkie told me the kids were picking on them at school, so that's why. But elementary and this and that, I can't see them talk. But then again, the podcast, they were saying they were kicked out. So I don't know which one's true, but they said they stopped for a while and they just started picking it up recently. And they said the activity was getting a little worse. Nobody of all these paranormal investigators that I know that reached out to me in the last couple of weeks, not one of them caught any evidence. Only picture that I was ever shown of Jay's, two, was the doll, which everybody's seen with all the lights, and it's the camera, it's the light, it's the flare. And believe me, I'm trying to be nice as he's showing it to me. I'm like, he says, you see the head, you see the demon, and I'm like, no. And he goes, and I didn't want to be mean. And I'm like, okay. So I disagreed with him because I'm like, there's nothing there. It's just lights. Your brain's going to put an image on there if you look at it long enough. And I didn't want to say that to him and be disrespectful. I'm like, okay. And then he showed me a piece of like dust on a camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
There was a few lens flare.
Yeah. At this point, it's like 4 hours long, a 4 hour long conversation. I'm like, and every time he talked to me, it was a different story. It was all over the place, and I couldn't get the right answer. And I'm like, okay. I just got to okay. I just want to go there on National Ghost Hunting Day to show people, a house that the Warrens worked on, and the big, paranormal investigators that we all know and love in this field, they can see it. And that was the whole purpose of me doing that on National Ghost Hunting Day. And Jay knew this. He knew this, but he knew that also it was going to bring more people to his page, more people to his house. But then he did say specifically, make sure when you catch something, let us know. You're going to catch. I was like, listen, I'm not going to lie for you. I won't do it for anybody. I'm not going to lie. If we catch something, we do. Great. If we don't, we don't. It happens. But he wanted me that night to say that his house was haunted, and I refused to do it. And that's what this all comes down to. It has nothing to do with it's just because I would not say his house was haunted.
Can I ask a quick question? Because then I know Kris is going to want us to get back on track as far as what you just dumped in the past few days, because that's the huge news. But one quick question, because you have said that you believe it was haunted at one point and that it's been cleared that there could have been an entity there, but that it's gone. So I can agree with that. I can feel that. But do you feel like, even with that said, that the extent of the haunting was as bad as Jay talks about, as far as people being picked up and thrown and blood all over the walls and everything?
See, we weren't there, so we are not going to know. And just knowing Jay's history with podcasts and over-exaggerating and making up things, now I don't believe him. But I do believe the other people that were there that did witness stuff. So Joe Frankie, I absolutely do 100%, believe that he said he has a video of the twins, and he said next time, because he don't publicly post that, which I totally understand. He said, well, next time we have lunch or whatever, he'll show me. I'm like, absolutely, I want to see it. Like, I really do believe that house was haunted. I believe, and people don't know this, I also reached out to former homeowners, former people that lived there and rented that place, and I have documentations of this. Like, I am not just the one that sits there and just does.
You don't play.
I listen. Like, when people want to know the truth, you have to know the truth. My house was haunted. My first house was so bad, my son got lifted up and thrown. And back then in '98, there was nothing at all to help us. Like, nobody. I had to do it. So I had to learn the right way of doing it because I had to help my family. But I did reach out to a person before Jay and Elkie owned that house. I reached out to this person, and he gave me a lot of detail about that house. I could share it with people offline. I don't want to share it online because, it's just some personal things that happened. But this guy said, oh, definitely, they were scared. He would never step back in that house ever again. So I believe these people. I believe it was haunted. Do I believe it is now? No. But that is me. And I mean, a spirit can come in and out any day. He can whip up something too. You know what I mean? Just energy, poltergeist, whatever. By the time that we were there, we didn't catch the demon or the bad entities that were scaring everybody in the house, because to me, it wasn't there. But that's me, And this is Hammy here. So Hammy is the one who was with us that's showing up on here.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Hammy. Nice to meet you.
He was with us when we were there that night.
Yes.
So I got go on. I was just going to say I had a few things that I wanted to say real quick.
I'll let you go.
If you want. Okay. So for those watching that may not know really everything that we're talking about, so all three of us we didn't go when Mary Jo went, but similar situations. You show up at the location because you're going to rent out the spot to do the investigation. And unlike other locations where they kind of maybe give you a 20-minute tour or something like that, or just sometimes hand you the keys, this one gave you like a 3-hour sit-down tour that told you these insane stories that went on way too long and had way too much detail in it. We talked about the pictures. I mean, these pictures were photographs with all different long exposures on them. I remember one of them, Boston was looking at for the longest time trying to find the orb, and I finally had to look at her and be like, no, that's just a picture of his brother. Like, he just had regular pictures.
Like, he just wanted to show us a regular picture of his family. Because I remember I was like, oh, because I assumed all the pictures he had collected to show us were going to be paranormal, but it was just like get to know everybody time.
So my thing is when I go into a place, I understand that, yes, you're not guaranteed an experience at any place that you go into. My issue with the place, before I had the issue with the owners, because I don't want these people on other podcasts saying, oh, it's about the location, it's not about the owners, right? My issue with the location is when I'm told all these stories of these paranormal experiences that happen, and I show up at the location and can debunk the paranormal experiences that I'm told by the owners are the phenomenons that continue to happen, then I have an issue with the location. Now, Jay and his family have extended their part into this by getting very aggressive in that. And we're going to watch some videos here in a minute. And you guys are going to be floored at not only the stuff that Jay says, but some of these podcasts. Now, that's what gets me, is that there are these grown men on these podcasts, older men watching this and listening to Jay talk about Mary Jo in such a horrible way and laughing and encouraging it. Like, it just blows my mind that there's people out there like that. And it's not just one podcast, right? It's a couple of different podcasts.
I just moved her because she's the star here. This was all so there's many people here who probably have yet to watch these. And we're gonna drop the links. Well, I'm going to drop the links to these videos in the chat so that if people want to watch like the full, what's the total time? Like 4 hours, I think.
Yeah, total 4. That's why it took me forever because I couldn't get it wouldn't download to my phone.
But it's all really important information, and it's so much proof. It is so much. Talk about a person who knows how to put the proof in the pudding. What's the term? You've got the proof in your pudding. Yeah. So I'll be right back. I'm going to drop those links because I want everyone to save them. If you're not subscribed to Penn Paranormal, make sure to subscribe. But then save these links because they'll bring you to watch part 1 and part 2 later on if you want the full. But
and we're going to review part 1 and 2 as well, so that so you'll get a preview of it. Do you mind? Is there a specific part that you want to talk about first?
Who, me? No, it doesn't matter. Because everything I brought up was just because on every podcast it was a lie. So.
Well, let's just go through. So I want you guys to see now. What Jay tends to do is if you have a negative experience at his house, instead of just saying sorry that you didn't get anything paranormal while you were here, instead he goes on the attack and tries to ruin your character. And he is aggressive. He is very extremely aggressive. So let's watch. This is going to go into the podcast part, and you're going to see how these other podcasters handled Jay on here. It's despicable.
Joe, because it's that twang, right? And I said, Mary Jo, is that you? She burst out laughing and hung up the phone. Bam. I said, holy cow. I said, she's impersonating or allegedly impersonating a state police officer. But I let it go because
these voices, they said, Lauren, this is a rare thing.
Mary Jo.
Wait, what does it say? So keep deleting my comments, Jay. Thanks for making this easy. Is that you, Mary Jo? You know what? Why don't you come to my house? Okay, really, I really love to have a talk with you because you might have the DOJ coming to visit you. Okay, the Department of Justice, because they want to know about your expired gun permit that expired in January with you holding a gun, threatening to kill somebody. Yeah, I got those pictures. You don't know about that, but I also have investigators too. They're real. So I love you. So anyhow, guys, yeah.
That was so good until the I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
This
See
kid
what
is
I'm talking about,
crazy.
guys? This
is
just
crazy.
proves more
Wait.
and more how I think
Phew.
this woman is secretly in love with me.
Wait,
You know,
show
I
the
think-
next comment.
What happened next?
Wait.
Hey, it's Cook Lady, Mary Jo. You did this to yourself, Mary Jo. I tried to get everything out of this. But
Oh, God.
you had to tell Hemi about the shitter, and then you told everybody else. Even, you know what? I'm going to mention Wildwood Sanitarium. Remember, you were just there, and somebody told me what you said to them. So, yeah,
Oh,
I'm not a
God.
psychic like you are. You're the best of everything, Mary Jo. Congratulations. You just won the shit award. Yeah. So
What the shit award?
the shit award. I mean, she thinks by going after me, she has no idea what I did in life and how many times I have faced death, right? And how many times the shit I saw and the people I dealt with, and I'm being attacked by a woman who shouldn't have ate pepperoni pizza. You know?
We should call her the
You know,
lady.
I mean, I don't know. So, Mary
All I'm
Jo,
saying is that sounded like shit got real.
yeah, super shit award. Everybody who knows her,
Yeesh.
I mean,
Wow.
it's bad. I don't want to record the rest of it, but yeah, somebody told me, somebody who was in the field for 20 years, they were investigating a fort, not Fort Mifflin, but another fort, and they were trying to get it on the map. And they said that she came in with her big fat ass, and she came in and she took over. Now, these people are really big in the field. So they said, listen, she's like a hemorrhoid. They said, ignore her. She might go away. Actually, they said she'll go away. She never did. She's been fascinated by me. So
Okay, let's go back.
anyhow, let's get back. Let's not listen to the psycho woman who has some issues. So guys, anyhow, where was I?
Hold on 1 second, Jay. Hold on 1 second. Mike.
Well, Mr.
So that's just part of it. That I don't even think they really got into the name calling yet at that part. I mean, they started,
Yeah.
but
They started, yeah.
so that how did that scenario happen? That the podcast is going at this point, Jay's already started to slander your name and go out and talk about you on various Facebook groups and whatnot. What was it? Did you go there to confront him on that, or how did all that come about, that scenario?
Yeah, so actually, I got a bunch of messages from people saying, "Oh my God, he slandered you on this podcast." So I went to go look on Facebook, and John Curley already blocked me. I've been blocked from him for years. So I'm like, great, I can't get on here. So Bill tried to, he couldn't get on. So we went on YouTube, and that's when it let me on. And I was hearing this, and I'm like typing, thinking, okay, as soon as I make one thing, they're going to block me. So that's when it was that one thing when the daughter said, oh, Mary Jo's on. Basically, why are you lying? Because I knew I was going to get blocked. I didn't think John was going to put it up there. But again, he wants views. And they even stated in there, me being in there, and that's why they didn't block me, is because they knew I was going to bring views onto their page. At this point, I didn't care. Because I'm just like, you guys didn't even tell me, or I don't know. It was so immature, and I'm trying to defend myself, and they just kept making more jokes and laughing and making more jokes. I'm like, you guys are lying. I said, and then he's sitting there saying that I took, wipe cloths and wiped my butt with all their cloths, and then they're making jokes about that. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, you guys are human. You knew that I wouldn't do this, but these constantly I was just sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on. I just can't. I can't even listen to it. It makes me mad because these people are so ignorant.
If someone came on, like, let's say the roles were reversed, right? And you came on our show, like Kris and I, right, as a guest, and you just started saying all this stuff, like horrible stuff about Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And him and I didn't have any way, hadn't heard it come from his own mouth, hadn't seen any proof of it. We, had no way to know if you were just completely lying and going on and on saying the worst things about this person. I think we both stopped the show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as any professional host, how did they just sit there, laugh,
they laughed,
be like,
they
oh,
encouraged.
yeah, that's horrible. They laughed, they encouraged it, and they had zero proof if anything he was saying was true.
Because they're bullies. That's all. They don't care about me. They don't care about this field. They just want to sit there and get views and think it's funny. They did this to another group a week prior to me. And I'm like, really? It is. And you know what? It hurt them. I know it did now. But you know what? You should know better. Like I said, if it was my podcast, like I said in that video, it was my podcast and Jay came on and started belittling somebody like that, I'm like, no, you need to stop. Right. Or show us proof that any of this happened. Be mature about it because we're adults. Right. You run a business. And the sad thing is those people go into they went into people's homes and do cases. Could you imagine? Like, I wouldn't want them in my home if I ever seen that podcast. I'd be like, absolutely not. And the fact that these people know that I'm in a medical field, they know the other people that were with us and know their stories, and they allowed this to go on. It's mind blowing how they just let it keep going and just laughing about it for hours. And they didn't care because as soon as Jay started talking about the house, they were on their phones, they were looking, they were typing stuff, and as soon as I would come on, and they'd be like, bam, another one. And it's funny because I have screenshots of how I wrote things on there. Again, when you're an investigator, you have to be an investigator. So when I was typing, I also took screenshots of everything I typed because I knew they wouldn't put everything up. And they did not match. So John was only putting certain things up when he was getting bored of Jay's comments. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying to Bill, he just put that comment up for like 10 minutes. So I don't know how StreamYard works, if you can pick comments and put them up. But that's what he was doing.
Yeah, look.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so I like this. I like this one too. Hi, Denise.
Okay, so let's I found the next clip from that podcast. Let's stick and get them out of the way.
With one post, I lost it when she called my kid. She's retarded, so I'm kind of like I lost it a little bit there, and so if I ever offended someone, I apologize for that. But this is my kid.
You never apologize for offending somebody before, don't worry about it.
No, I should have told her that night. I should have listened to my inner and should have said.
I love how Courtney never got involved with that stuff and they dragged her into that. That was messed up.
What they're talking about, Mary Jo, because my other daughter spent some time in her room, she ended up, she got hit and she's going through some things, but Mary Jo thank God I wasn't there because Mary Jo would have had a TBI too. She called my daughter. She said something about Mackenzie. And what did she say about Courtney? She called my daughter retarded. She goes, your other daughter hides upstairs
she said, we'll be hiding our other child because she's mentally retarded.
That's fucked up.
That pissed me off.
That was messed up.
Yeah, that's not right.
You don't do that to people. Kids, you don't do that to. It's messed up. But anyhow, guys.
So he's accusing you of saying that.
Yep. And I never even, I talked to Mackenzie. We were at the house for a couple minutes because she's very quiet, but I just adore her. She's the sweet one. And she just really is. And if you ever meet her, you'll understand what I'm saying. But I try to talk to her, but she's very quiet and she smiles. I would never, ever. And see, that's the sad thing is they don't ever say this happened this time. Like, when did I say it? First they said, oh, she called her on the phone. I never called her.
Where's the proof? Right. The first time they said you called the daughter?
They said that they called her and told her, and then they switched it and said something else. And I'm like, okay, well, I haven't talked to you since I left the house. So I haven't called you since then until I got the death threat. And then I did say, leave me alone, don't contact me, I'm going to the police. And I did. and I got a police report. But I have never talked to any of the kids on the phone ever. I've only talked to Jay. And then Elkie would be like, they put it on speakerphone. I could hear Elkie talking in the background. I never talked to those. And I would never say that about any child or anybody, at all. I mean, again, I work in the medical field. That's why I got so mad just listening to this. Like, how dare you? And then the daughter's going, it made me mad when she said that. She knows I didn't say that. Right, that's what I know, that they're brainwashing these children because she knows I didn't say that.
Or at least one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel bad. I feel bad for the children because, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. And then
I do too. That's the saddest part of this whole story. But saying that, making up a complete, like, that's sick to me. To make up a complete story and then you hear the dad say it and then the mom adds something else to it. Well, no, this is how it was said. And then the daughter, that made me really mad. That a grown woman said that term about a child, a teenager, to their parents or to the child itself, like whatever it was, is so slanderous and so wrong.
Well, they said that another part is on one, because their lives were very long, and I have a whole bunch of different ones. They did say that I said that again when they came over to stop the live. And you guys have all heard it.
We haven't all heard it. We haven't all heard it.
Yeah, so it was nothing at all about the children. They were mad their town was watching the live, and they were mad that the town was questioning and saying basically they were fake. And that's why they wanted the live shut down. And it's clear and simple on the video that I had that we recorded. Because again, we record everything. It was playing in the background. They all knew it was being recorded. We record we had recorders everywhere or video cameras everywhere. So I had it upstairs. So even so they can say, well, you had this phone, his phone died, and Alyssa had on her phone. I also had a body camera upstairs so you could hear the same conversation. But I wanted for people to see the video, to see that it was a real video. It wasn't made up. But I had all different angles, but it's harder to hear on the body camera, but you still can hear it pretty clear. Yeah. So we didn't make anything up. We didn't fake anything, but they did. And they did, like, even the voice message from Elkie was disturbing as can be, and
we'll get to that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's keep playing this. Let's see.
Yeah.
Mac and Dreckie had kidnapped her mother live.
I didn't realize it was the end of it. I know there's another. It continues.
The podcast?
Because of Mary Jo. Yes, Mary Jo, my wife is ashamed of you because you're a slob. Yes.
Would you guys stop now?
That's why she put Miss Piggy up there. Anyhow, I like putting fucking people down. I like fucking shredding people. Come on. It's always better. It's always fun when you can shred somebody who can shred back. Because it's fucking. All right. You can't pick on handicapped people. Like she called this one handicapped person awful things. What did she say? A coke. I can't read her right. So anyhow, guys, let's get back to reality. Oh, here comes the guy that she cheats on. Yep. Bill, your wife has had more golf clubs and golf balls there than, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't even know you guys, and the stories I hear from the guy in New Hampshire, the other guy. So when she goes to these Paracons, I would fucking put on. So I am. All right, forget about it. So anyhow.
William Chudley.
I don't know who that is.
No,
it's
Bill.
I forget about it. So anyhow, let's get back to reality. What is it? All right, Porky the Pig. All right. So anyhow, I didn't say nothing. I'm looking at the thing at the bottom. So somebody said Porky the Pig, and then she said, "Prove it that she's not Porky the Pig." What the fuck, Elka? Fluffengool, right?
She work at
somebody said Porky Pig, and then she said, "Prove it."
She must have worked.
Can you show a picture, Mary Jo, so that everybody knows what you look like, so we can get on with this? All right. So guys. So anyhow. So now I go over at around September 5th. It was right after Labor Day weekend. I call him up. Now this guy, he's almost in his 90s. He just gets married. Now this is like old school stuff. This is like stuff you don't even hear about no more, right?
What is he talking
His
about?
wife,
I don't know.
you think this is crazy? What the hell? Who is that? Rectal? I can't read, guys. I don't. Is that rectal paranormal? What? I can't. Rectal. Yeah. Rectum paranormal. Rectum Helena killer.
It's kind of sad that she has nothing better to do with.
Oh, she's a beautiful woman, guys. All we can do is praise Jesus for people like that in the world because they keep us on our toes because that makes us realize they're psychotic people.
But it's sad. She has nothing better.
It's nothing else better. Well, you know what? She was a
Well,
fat
hold on.
person.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Hang on.
I didn't say that. I said PHAT.
The good thing about it is her keep commenting and joining the show is she's doing nothing but
The more, what did you say? Fat charming, donuts appreciated, guys. I think she's looking for donuts. I can't. I'm my glasses on, so I can't see it. Fat.
Can we pause this real quick?
Oh, okay.
It's just
we can keep going, but yeah.
And there's so much more than this too. There's just a couple little spots that I grabbed off, you know. And he's talking about my it's just disgusting.
So
someone noted that I'm making my face is very expressive. I can't help it. It's just a problem with my face. It's my face. But I'm making these faces as I'm listening because I'm like, who the hell is he even talking about at this point? Like he was just nonstop and I think he was still talking about you and like trying to insult you, but nothing made sense.
He's telling two different stories. He's telling one story, and then whenever a comment comes up, then he jumps into digging at her, and then he goes back to a story and then jumps back at her.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. But yeah, remember, John was hitting them. I guess he didn't want to hear his house story anymore, so he kept putting that up there. And like I said, I had screenshots of all the stuff that I comment, and then all of a sudden they're like, why does she have no life? I'm like, dude, that comment was like 20 minutes ago. When I first got on, I was just going down the line, stop lying, blah, blah, blah. And then they just kept putting comments up as they were getting bored of listening to him.
So, Mary Jo,
Hi,
what
Lori.
made...
We need to talk soon. Sorry.
What made... Mary Jo, what made you his target? Like, what happened that night that made him all of a sudden just go so gung-ho against you?
See, nothing happened that night. We went home. Like, we waited outside for over an hour. Again, I have pictures because I just had this bad feeling with this guy. So I took a picture of us just standing outside. You know, I had a text message, hey, listen, you guys got to come over here. We're trying to leave. I think it was like around like 10:15 or something. Like, don't quote me. It was like 10 something. I know it was like early 10 o'clock. And I'm like, we want to go home because I couldn't breathe because of their rabbits and their chinchilla that they refused to tell me about. So I wanted to go home. And I'm like, I can't breathe, blah, blah, blah. You know, I didn't tell them that, but Bill and Hammy knew. And so we were staying outside because I couldn't breathe in the house. They could get fresh air would be better. And we kept saying, we want to leave, we want to leave, we want to leave. And they wouldn't answer us. So we just left. 5 minutes down, 10 minutes down the road is when they oh, you left already? And I didn't even answer them. I was so mad. So then we get home, we do our things, and that's like 2 days later. So Jay has never talked to Hammy, which is Kris, which he says on his podcast, never talked to him. Talked to him like 2 or 3 days later, asked him how his time was. And he goes, okay. Hammy does not like drama, doesn't want to get into it. And he didn't understand why all of a sudden now Jay is messaging him. But he did have an issue with his card to pay Venmo because when he went to Connecticut, he tried to pay it and it froze his whole account, which that happens. And we saw it. He showed it to us and we had like screenshots.
Yeah, that's why he said something about the car, right?
Yeah. But Jay was not talking about the money. He was wanting to know about his experience. And then Jay kept on bringing up, well, I saw on Facebook Mary Jo was sick. And he goes, oh, yeah, she has some kind of a bug. He didn't want to tell him what was going on. That had some kind of allergic reaction because he didn't think it was in his. He's like, well, Jay's like, well, the house did it. He goes, Jay, the house didn't do it to Mary Jo. And he goes, yeah, the house did it. And then he mentioned about diarrhea. And Kris is like, I never mentioned to you about diarrhea. And he goes, yeah, you did. He goes, and that's when I think Kris lost it and goes, hey, listen, now we know you are watching the video cameras because we were making jokes about it. And that's the only reason why you would know anything about diarrhea. And that's how that all came down. So then them two started going at it. And then he sent me the screenshots, and then I'm like, no, because I defend my friends, and I just wrote that whole long 3-page thing stating all this stuff. Like, this is what happened. I'm very disappointed in you. You know, I asked you if you have rabbits. Do you have rabbits? Because of because Hammy saw your message.
And he brought it up. And we have that on camera of him bringing it up at the house.
Right.
And then you hear more talk about the attic. That was after I left the comment and you guys ended the live.
Right.
So we know that there was some conversation after that point about what's in the attic, but it was too late, you know? That's my favorite part of your video that you prove is him coming in, that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the closet during the live stream and your teammates are figuring out exactly what's up. And you can hear them talking about it.
I was in the live.
Yeah,
in the
I was watching you. I remember you in the closet.
And it's just funny because they heard the equipment going off downstairs. Hammy did. And he kept on going in and out of and I didn't see this because I obviously was recorded in the hallway. And then inside the room too, when my body camera was going off. So when I'm sitting there listening back, I'm like, oh my God, they realized it from that moment that there was something against that wall.
Did something just move behind you? Did something just move behind you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep seeing things too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Is it the light? Maybe?
It could be the light flickering.
Yeah, it might be the light behind me, and that's in my kitchen where Bill's in the kitchen. So yeah,
I could have sworn I saw. Okay.
Yeah, it might have been Bill walking in and out of the kitchen, like walking around in the kitchen. Yeah, he just turned the light off, so I don't know.
Okay, that's what it was. Because then it just got dark, and when it's like a little square. Okay.
Now he's walking kind of north of the door.
You do live in a haunted house, though. So.
But like I said, I didn't realize my Annabelle was sitting there. And I'm like, oh, because it was a joke. I took a picture for Easter with the so I'm like, oh, I just pushed her off the couch. I'm like, oh, I didn't know she was sitting next to me. Anyway. No, I don't have creepy dolls sitting down my house.
Sorry to interrupt you. I freaked out. I was like, did we just catch something on camera? But usually see how we debunk things, guys?
Yeah, usually I do this in my paranormal room, but it's so crowded with so much stuff now. I can't even go in there. It's too I can't even breathe in that room. So yeah, I don't do anything in that room anymore. But yeah, so nothing happened at all until Hammy and him had that argument. And that's when I stepped up and said, listen, this needs to stop. And then it was quiet. Elkie went after me, and then we kind of squashed it. It was nothing until I think it was like November. It's right around Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, that's when I start seeing the post. Yeah. And I'm like, we already had the Paracon for the Warrens. Everything was fine. I saw them walk past me. I smiled at them. They just gave me a look. I'm like, okay, you know what? I tried. Like I had no bad feelings with them. I just wanted them to just. And then all of a sudden, Thanksgiving is when all the posts started coming up with him and him posting about me.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Because I remember that's when he reached out to you too, Kris, right?
Yeah, it was around then.
Is that also when Get Haunted walked away?
No, they walked away before I went there. They walked away about maybe like 3 weeks before I went there. Because they wanted me to take over, and I said absolutely not. I said, I can help you. I said, but I'm not taking over. I don't have that time. I don't have time enough for my own stuff. Mm-hmm. But I did, say that's why we did the live also and made sure it went on all different channels so they can get people to go to their house. But then I retracted that after I went there because I don't want people to be subject to that.
Right. And that's the big thing. And I want people who are listening to this, I want them to really understand that nobody here is just trying to talk shit about these people. Okay. Mm-mm. We are bringing this to the public forefront and trying to put eyes and attention on it for multiple reasons. But I think we can all agree the main one would be we're worried about other people going there and having the same issues that we've been dealing with, especially if people are going to have issues on the level of what Mary Jo has had to deal with for the past however many months since around November. Thank you, Danger Zone. Is that Danger?
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Much appreciated.
Much appreciated. But yeah, that's the real concern for me personally is like, I don't want more people going there and being watched. Security cameras are okay.
Yeah.
You have to, that's okay. But being actively watched
Yes.
is different than like having a security camera in case something happens, in case something goes missing and you need to check the security camera the next day. That's different than being actively watched without your knowledge in real time, in my opinion.
And I tell people I have a Ring camera. My Ring camera is right up there.
Yeah.
Because when my dogs were alive, I used to watch them in my living room. I would go on my lunch break and see what they're doing. So that one's right there. I can look back. It doesn't have to be activated, or I can constantly look back and see what's going on. But when it does activate, it does record. So if Jay had all this stuff that I was doing, the sex parties, which I just cannot believe he still says this, the sex parties, all this crazy stuff, people come into the house. When you think you would, just the poop in the bathroom, when you take a picture of that, you're a homeowner, you rented this house out, you've done what's it called, the B&B or whatever you call it, you've done that. So you're telling me you don't take pictures of any of this stuff? So if somebody was so disrespectful in your house, grabbing my boobs and shaking in front of a camera, people know me, I would never, ever, ever do that in my life. And people that don't even like me,
that's something I would maybe do, but not Mary Jo.
Yeah, I would never ever do that ever.
I'm just kidding.
Even in my own privacy, in my own home, I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I'm saying. You know what? I really need to say something. And then just the fact that he would say comments about his daughters, of two men. I know you were alone with my daughter, and my daughter told me you did this. That scared me more than anything. That I would rather people think that I'm the biggest bitch in the sun and went after and it's not the location. People have to understand that. It is the people that run the location. That if they don't get their way, they're going to throw something out or just make you look shitty. Or I guess maybe they thought, I'm going to go after Mary Jo and I'm going to say all this stuff about her. She's going to shut her mouth. That anybody comes in here, they're going to see that I did this to her and they're going to be afraid to say anything. Well, guess what? You picked with the wrong person. You did not know who you were picking with. You know what I mean? Because I can do this without Facebook. I can still have cases without Facebook. I'll still do the paranormal without Facebook or online social media because I did it before. I don't need social media. I do it to help people. That is it. And I will be damned if you're going to make a liar out of me and you're going to do this against me and my friends and my family and belittle me. And then might, just say, Kris, if you're in a room with one of the kids or something, or even if you were not in a room with a kid, it's your word against the children. Okay. And they're already a little brainwashed. So, and that's what scares me. So I'd rather
it scares me too.
Than know
it's going to happen.
I mean, the rest of your life.
The fact that they stormed in and had all these concerns about, even though other investigators have gone live from their location before, they were watching and there was a few comments that they were unhappy with. And so suddenly their daughter saw something and then they have to bring up a horrible incident that happened in her life. And like you weaponize that in a way to be like, that's why we're so upset. But hold on, I don't have the comment that was made about my daughter. I can't find it. Something's weird's going on with my photos. I have this comment here that says, be nice. This is for real. I know these people.
And that's Cindy. That's the person that was doing the stirring up the people for the basement and the demon in the basement.
It was someone that they knew, right? But it was because somebody made a comment. I don't remember who or exactly what it was, but I had gone back recently to watch that live to look for my comment to see like what sparked this World War III, right? And somebody had said something like just innocent. People say this stuff on live streams, on paranormal live streams all the time. They were like, this house doesn't look that scary. I've seen TV shows with scarier haunted houses. It was something like that, right?
Or you're making this to be a circus. And he made it to seem like it was for me. No, it was somebody in your town that was calling you a circus, not calling me a circus. But that's
right.
That's
but he twists. It's twisting everything. But to use your daughter's, to use a traumatic thing that has happened to your child and say like, oh, that's the reason we want you to stop, when it seems very clear that never happened, that the daughter was never picked on in the live comments. I remember hearing Hammy being like, I was there, like there was kids brought up, but they were talking about ghost kids. Like you guys would have known. You look at your live enough in that live to like respond to people or tell
I don't
people.
Look at it because I'm klutzy and I'll fall. And people know that I smack my head. I've fallen on lives.
But you've responded. to a few people. I saw you reading some comments, and then you got your teammates looking at it too, right?
Yeah, that's when I went downstairs when Alyssa said that stop the live, that they're going out. She whispered it. They're stop the live. They're going after the kids. And then I'm like, so I'm sitting downstairs and I'm scrolling, looking, and I could not find it. And they were upstairs looking, and they couldn't find it either. So there was, and then we asked Jay where it was, and he pulls out his phone. He's like, I know it's in here somewhere. I took a screenshot, but couldn't find it. It's like everything. He couldn't find anything. But it wasn't there. And he did give out the girl's name, who's a minor, gave it to us, and then said something.
Blocker.
Yeah, well, he said blocker, but he also said something. Well, isn't that the girl that? And he said something that was very damaging for her that we didn't need, as adults, didn't need to know, that he was kind of making fun of. Ghost kids. Yeah, the ghost kids. Yeah, Cammy said the ghost kids. And he was even explaining that to them, that it was the ghost kids, but they didn't want to hear it. They wanted that live gone, but they wanted to know what forums I stuck it at, because everybody in town, the old people were watching it. And I'm like,
you didn't put it on any forums. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
That's called algorithms. Can I say something that, like, I kind of hope, I don't hope it because it then went on and affected you and other people in a negative way. But part of me wants to take a little credit here, because there was those few comments from the town, right? And then I come in right before they finally barge in on you guys. And I leave my comment about the attic, right? It was like a few minutes before they ended up coming over and you guys had to shut down the live. I leave my comment because somebody asked about the attic. And I'd like to think that may be what tipped him over the edge. If I could have gotten under their skin.
I kind of want to walk.
Also, you got to remember, I asked them if they had animals. And it's funny, I had German Shepherds, but I always had German Shepherds. And they have a German Shepherd. I had no idea they had a German Shepherd, and just to win their pot. I'm like, wait a minute. I went to a house that had a German Shepherd. I didn't get a chance to see it. Because I would be all over that dog. Like you would, I love animals. So if I knew they had a shepherd, my ass would be being at treats and everything. That would be my best friend the whole night. The hell with the ghost, I'd be playing with the shepherd. That's just me. But I didn't even know they had a shepherd. I knew they had a small dog. That was it. And I asked them, do you have any other animals? Cats, nothing. No, nothing like that. And then to find out that they had a shitload of rabbits, and then they had a chinchilla, which, again, I can't really say anything because I know I'm highly allergic to chinchillas, but again, not many people have them anymore at all. So I didn't even think they even sold them anymore. So I was, but that is what's up in the attic. And for people that don't know what chinchilla is, it's a little, not a little rat, but it is. It's a small little guinea pig that jumps like around in dust. They are cute. Believe me, that's how I found I was allergic to it, because I bought one and my face blew up and I was in a hospital for a while. But they jump in dust. So they flip-flop all over the dust to clean themselves off. So they're actually more noisier than rabbits. So when I heard that, I'm like, that was what that noise that Hammy heard. It was probably taking a dust bath, because they're awake at night like any rodent would be, or not rodent, but you know what I mean?
I think that was in the kitchen, but yeah.
What the chinchilla was?
In their kitchen, from what I remember. Sorry, Kris wanted to say something like a while ago, so I want to give him a chance to say it.
I think we should watch what happened when they came and shut down your live.
Okay. I wouldn't play all like the 40 minutes of it.
It's 40 minutes long.
Yeah, and it was they were nice to me. They weren't mad, so you can see.
Okay. So what we're about to see here is Mary Jo was live on the world's largest ghost hunt, and all of a sudden started getting text messages saying, shut it down.
And you guys hear the door open,
from the other side.
I'll tell you when to fast forward, Kris, because it's towards the end when her phone dies, or it goes black, that you start hearing Jay say some interesting stuff about the attic.
You can come in. I don't know, the door's locked.
What time is this? Do you remember, Mary Jo?
It's probably around 11. Yeah, 11 about 10:30, 11.
Because we have old women, everybody. My daughter Courtney saw something on there. So all the kids and everybody.
You remember when I made the Facebook event? you shared it, so the neighborhood saw it.
No. I have the only thing I have is that the Enfield haunting. What you have, right? That's private. You have to join. There's not too many people in
Well, I
this
don't
town.
know. But you saw the Facebook post, so that's the only thing I advertised.
He does realize
There
that
was 1,000 people
the Enfield
that were,
page is not
that,
private,
Yeah, because
right?
like Mrs. Murphy, who
I guess.
probably goes to bed at 9 o'clock at night, right? She's asking, I didn't know that you guys could talk to spirits. It's because I learned not to even post on the Enfield forum because this town is backwards. This town is like hillbillies because what
See,
happens
I love
is
that you
people
post these
"Oh my
pictures
God,
of
demons in the Enfield. Oh my God.
we don't post in there, and then
But I never said there was demons. I said I wish you could see a little bit
I'm
better.
saying in general. That's why we don't post on the Enfield forum no more because people are like really weirded on this stuff. But like,
Did you ever thought about it? Maybe that someone else shared it?
I don't know.
I put the post up that was on my.
so they're concerned that people from the town have now heard about this, and Jay goes on to then later claim that gang members were messaging them saying that they were bringing drugs and alcohol over, and they were on their way because apparently this ghost hunt was leading to a sex party because Mary Jo brought as a trigger item handcuffs, which I think is a amazing trigger item for the history that you were told about this house. I mean, it would make sense. Yeah, it's mob related. So to have handcuffs, that's going to stir some stuff up.
Did they just take down all their stuff recently?
I don't know. I blocked them. I don't know.
Okay.
Boston, where did you want me to skip to?
A little like right around here. Let's see.
That's Elky's. Yeah, not yet.
Freaked out at who this goes, but we never had anybody like.
Weird people, let's say it this way.
And real fast, Chris, before you say, he actually talked about a bunch of paranormal people. One that basically told him that he's slow, but he said other words. He brought him up in that too.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that was really inappropriate. I was trying to
I did too.
Get him away from that subject because that's not right. Again, even though we're private, we're in here and he's sitting there saying that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not right. But go ahead. Sorry.
That's a new thing though, George, because literally when they kept saying our address, did you give out our address to anybody? And this was like within the past week.
Locked down like in the last week. The page did. The group is still there.
The page. I'm not in the group. I don't think I've ever been in the group. But yeah, so on the page, I clicked on it because I was like, I'm pretty sure their address is literally on the page because I remember when we were driving there back in July, I like needed to look up the address, and so I just clicked on their page and it was still there. Like post this whole issue and asking you if you gave out your address. They don't want people to know where they live. It's on their page, which at the time was not private in any way, shape, or form, and had their address.
Well, only person I saw when I went back, because they asked me to block that one girl, and I did block her, and they asked me to block a whole bunch of other people, and I did. I didn't even hesitate. I just blocked. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to be nice.
And
but
you can hear you doing that there.
Yeah, and I went back and unblocked them all. So all the comments will come back up. So I didn't take any comments off. The comments were on there. But the one paranormal investigator that they were making fun of on, privately, he did put where his address was. But that anybody can Google that. All that I had to put is Enfield Demon House on my GPS, and bam, there it goes.
But you don't even have to Google it. Like, it was literally, if I'm interested in the Enfield Demon House and I search it on Facebook and I want to see their posts or whatever, it's right there on their Facebook page.
I know.
Or it was. So this is interesting. I'm going to say I'm getting reports here from people saying that the whole podcast, other stuff, it's all been taken down. Different people in comments are saying, okay, only friends can see it now. Well, guess what? Too little too late, because all the messed up stuff that you've said,
I have all
it's all documented and recorded.
I have all the podcasts saved on my YouTube. So it's under private. So if anybody wants to see it, private message me. I will link you into it. You can watch it. It is that disturbing. All 3 of them. I have all 3 of the podcasts recorded onto that. So I have them for court.
Smart. And a lot of them are clipped in these videos.
Yeah.
All right, Kris, sorry.
So
Sorry, Fred.
one of the things that I want to talk about in the house that I know we noticed, Boston. I don't remember even really having the conversation too much with Mary Jo, but after watching this, I was like, oh shit. You know, another similarity was in the upstairs. There's this big upstairs bedroom. And the 2 beds are against, the heads are against one wall. And on the farthest, the wall closest, the bed closest to the window, between the window and that bed, there is a door covered up by drywall and sealed off. This is how you got up to the attic, right? When I was watching the videos of Mary Jo, you start saying, I think I hear somebody like right behind this wall. That's where the stairs are coming from, the upstairs attic that can be reached from the other side of the house because this place is a duplex.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know they were there until his video came out. And I'm like, oh my God, there was a door right behind that bed.
We knew they were there because he talks about it in one of the TV shows, I think.
Oh, see, we didn't watch
but
it. We
what,
wouldn't have known.
You told us that in person.
I knew before we ever went about it.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you didn't, but I knew before we went that it used to be an attic and that wall.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
why? What did you notice, Kris? What was your oh shit moment?
Oh no! So we knew about that door being there, and so when we investigated, I was always on edge, like, oh, is something gonna happen? Nothing happened when we were there, right? But I kind of forgot about it until I was watching Mary Jo's video, and they start saying it sounds like I can hear somebody on the other side of this wall, but where's this wall? And it was like, to me, I was like, oh shit. That's the stairs that go to the other part, which Jay later, I believe in this part, starts saying that, it's a closet now, and I got tons
There's
of clothes.
There's a bunch of stuff in there.
You wouldn't hear anybody walking around in there. Okay.
Well, I also had videos of, because I was trying to figure out, I have a paralight that was on on the table with the mirror. And I noticed it kept on going all the way up. And I'm looking at it like, okay, that shouldn't. And everybody online was going, I've never seen your paralight do that. And that's when my moment was like, oh shit, they have the walkie-talkie. And you can see my face. And I don't think I put it on this video because I have it clipped out. But I'm like my face, like, okay, now I know that I'm being played. Because that thing would go up, and then all of a sudden the tripwire that was on the floor would go shooing by me. So I'm thinking, okay, are they behind that wall? Which they can't be because that wall is another bedroom. But again, I did not know that there were steps right next to us. They could have had a walkie-talkie. They could have had any kind of equipment, set that sucker off that would set that paralight off to have that tripwire go off. And it's funny. And the only reason I'm saying this, because you have to debunk everything. And I'm not saying that they did this, but I am saying they did this in a way. I'll quote it this way. I believe they did this. In my guess, I think they did this because when we went downstairs and they came over and I was watching the body camera, that equipment didn't go off once. Actually, it went off once, but that whole time it was completely silent. So if everything was going off and there was so much activity and movement, whatever, from energy, something would have went off. Something would have tripped it off. Something. It happened once. The paralight went up. The tripwire went off, and I could hear somebody walking up the steps. And I'm just like, and again, I didn't watch these videos at all because I was mad that our live got shut down. So I didn't even care if we caught anything at this point. I'm like, I'm not even going to look at it. It's just going to sit in my, my database. It's going to sit there until whenever I delete it. But then when this came up and I start looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute, there's nobody up there.
That's what I want to listen to.
You can hear somebody walk up the steps.
Where is that in here?
It's probably not in there because
was it part 1 or part 2? No. The part where it's the hall camera and you're in the closet and you can hear
Hammy
and Bill
going out. Yeah, because they didn't know where they were. And this is what I think. Again, I think they didn't know where the other two were, and they were looking at that downstairs camera. And every time they turned that downstairs camera on, the equipment would go off. And then Hammy heard something walking up the steps or down the steps, and that's because it's right next to him. It's literally right next to him.
I just got a message from somebody reminding me of this fact too. They were an Airbnb. Their address is and has been very public for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's not, well, we can listen to this part, but it's not this part. It's when you've got a view of just the hall.
Well,
Yeah, you'll see Hammy peeking out like back and forth.
Yeah, we can listen to this part first.
How about you set one of the toys off in the other room?
So right here is where that door is.
Mm-hmm.
Put the hat back on. Can you turn that light on for me again? I got the hat on. How do I look, guys?
This is what Jay says was her undressing.
You upset them.
Yeah, and they all have clothes on.
Of course you do.
I don't know what happened.
She took it off and upset them. There it is.
Should I
She
leave
took
the
a
hat
hat
on
off,
for the night?
guys.
Even people said, I've never seen that thing lit up so much in all your investigations. That thing doesn't really light up. It really does not. Hammy, be good.
Put the dress on.
What did this say? I think we go here.
Do you want me to try the dress on?
Shit.
She doesn't want you to know this. Everything I'm saying, guys, if I'm lying, you know what? I'll give the keys right now to the town and I'll walk away. That's the bet I will make.
I have a question, though. Now, how did you hear this? Because of the cameras?
So this is the
What did he
claims
just
of
offer?
why
His house.
I know,
Yeah,
if what?
If he was lying.
Yeah.
Okay. Hand the keys over hand him to the town and walk away.
So what is being said here is they're asking him, they question him because he said, because of what we just watched, thinking that somebody was getting naked, that these gang members were texting him saying that they were bringing drugs and alcohol over for a sex party. And that's literally what Jay is talking about here. And this guy's like, did they really say that? And Jay's saying, yeah, they said it.
No, because what happened was everything I heard was from Penn Paranormal. Another address, you want to come over. They wanted to bring beer. They wanted to bring drugs. Wow. They wanted a party because they're just like, hey, if I was single,
Let me ask you though. How do you know that they were gonna? How do you know they wanted to bring that? That's my question. No, they actually said it. Now,
wow. One guy actually said, I live down the street, right, by Anson Untouched Street, which is a bad gang area. Let's say every neighborhood, you have your good and bad areas. Yeah. That area, I mean, they're known for shootouts. They're known for drugs. They're known for violence. So the guy says, hey, I live right down the street, right? I'll bring XYZ.
Again, I was watching your live.
That's when, not me, guys. I had almost nothing to do with this.
Okay, so right there when he said you were watching the live, I can't show the picture of, but you can go back and look on the live. A kid did say, "Oh my God, I live right down the street." So they didn't
say what street. He's making that whole part up.
He is,
because I remember someone being like, "Oh my God, I live right down the street," and that was
a little kid. It was a teenager, so I can't even show that proof because it's a teenager. I can't, and I will not message a teenager. Not doing it. But it was a kid. That was the only person that said, "Oh my God, I live right down the street." That was it. There was nobody else. So again, another bull-faced lie that was no proof.
But that was a person that lives in the hood apparently who also said they're going to come over with their drugs and their alcohol and their guns and have a party with you guys.
Well, he made a comment about a lady before I went there. She was basically saying that she was throwing him under the bus with newspaper clippings that she put on my wall. And I messaged her, hey, listen, do you know proof of this? And she goes, yeah. And she sent me the articles again. She goes, listen, these people are lying. So I told Jay this. He goes, don't talk to her. It's Matt Kadraki. I'm like, it's not Matt Kadraki, dude. It's not Matt. He kept on. swore up and down it was Matt.
Yeah.
Then he tells me when I sent him a picture, and I have these clips. I didn't put them up there because I don't have the right to ask this lady. Like, I didn't want to ask the lady, hey, can I put your picture up on social media? But I'm like, do you know this woman? He goes, that woman doesn't live. Those kind of people don't live around here, is what he put. Yeah. I'm like, those kind of people? Like, what's that supposed to mean? So yeah, that's what he put.
Well, you can go back to the video. Sorry, Kris. Every time I say pause, we end up talking like way too long. I feel bad.
Do you want to go back to that one video, the one with Elkie put about?
I want to hear that. Yeah, well, her voice clip that she left somebody. I want to hear that, and then I want to see the hallway scene. Those are the two.
I'm looking for the hallway.
Make sure we watch.
You'll see like he peek his head out. It might be on the second one.
Oh, I found it. Nope, I just found it.
Yeah, Hammy said it's towards the end of the first one. And welcome again to everybody joining us.
The first.
We really appreciate the support.
Yeah, it was right after. Okay, so this is
and congratulations, by the way, Hammy.
Is there anybody else going to and talk to us?
So I'm in a closet doing a live, and Hammy comes out just to see if he hears anything. Then he hears the equipment going off downstairs. So my thing is, I believe that since I'm in a closet, they went on the Ring camera downstairs to see if we were down there. And that's why the equipment kept going off, because they were trying to see where the other three went to.
You might have to turn it up to hear them whispering.
I can't. It's mixed up.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe I was sitting the music box off downstairs, but
you can hear Alyssa whisper, "No, it's the camera." You can hear her. Or I'm sorry if it's Elise. Is it Alicia?
It's motion. It's not.
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
And then you hear, "No, it's motion."
She's in the closet right now. She cannot say hi back.
Again, remember, I'm in closet doing a live, and they don't know where everybody else is. Then Hammy goes out, and then you hear somebody running down the steps.
Dude, did you hear that shit? Mm-hmm. No, fucking footsteps freaking footsteps coming up the steps. Really?
And they've got two sets of steps. One of
Okay, so let's describe the house. The house is a duplex, right? So think of, but it's like a homemade duplex. Think
like
of
pretty shittily
your normal
done, in my opinion.
think of your normal staircase, and then they just put some drywall in between down that staircase, so you got like half and half staircase. Like it's extremely narrow staircase. So what's happening is you're hearing these equipment that go off downstairs, and like Mary Jo said, she's on the live in the closet. So when they're watching the live to see where they're at, they can only see the closet. They don't know where the rest of the people are at. Mm-hmm. So downstairs there is Ring cameras placed all over.
So they're turning those on. Mm-hmm.
They're turning those on and setting off the equipment, looking for them.
Yeah, remember this was about 10 minutes before we start. They came over. Yeah, I remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Ring camera was what kind of got us first talking to Mary Jo, because that was a similar scenario that happened with us. After Jay left and we went out to eat, we came back and started our investigation. We started off in the living room area. Now, this downstairs of the house is very small. You got the living room, you got like a little bar that comes out, like a kitchen bar that comes out, and then you can see the kitchen. That's it. You can maybe fit 5 people in there really comfortably.
Well, I was laughing because there's an event. Someone's doing an event there in the fall, and they were saying it was a up to 10 people for a sleepover. I was like, that you cannot fit 10 people even on the floor anywhere in that house. Sorry,
No.
continue.
Yeah, and so what's going with that? So we're doing our investigation, and we notice we're asking questions, and we're getting like the most intelligent EMF like spikes to answer, like spike twice for this, spike once for that, and it's doing it, and it's on cue. We're like, holy shit, this place is so haunted. So I like moved, and I remember I looked up and I noticed there was a plant in the kitchen above the fridge, and there was a little blue light staying on. And it was on a couple minutes. We would get the hits, and then the light would go off, and then we wouldn't get nothing.
And he
a little while later,
this to us. He would like in the moment though. He did the same thing your team's doing in this footage, Mary Jo.
Okay,
That's what makes
I'll
me
show
laugh.
You something. Hold on for 1 second. Let me show you something. I'm gonna. My ring
you
is
gonna
on.
get the ring
Grab
cam?
it. Yep.
Okay.
Hold on.
But yeah, that's why this clip makes me laugh, because Kris whispered, and it's the exact same thing as her team, as what's going on with her team here. And I know her team's in the chat. But Kris whispered to us, and
you're not gonna.
was.
I'm gonna turn you. I'm sorry, Annabelle's sitting right next to me. So, shit,
okay.
and there goes my everything. Can you see the camera or no?
Yeah,
I can see. It looks like a red light.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Hey, Bill.
That might be infrared.
Can you turn on? Yeah, because it's not on. It's not set at anything. Can you turn on the ring camera in the living room? Just turn it on and keep it on. Like, watch it, please, and you'll see it'll stay on. So this is just, it's not set up for motion or nothing.
Okay.
If it was motion, it would be green if I moved it. Not green, blue. Sorry.
There we go. There's the blue.
Now he's watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and it will stay on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we can let it stay on the whole time we're talking, and it would just sit there. And now, hon, just turn it off for me. Just get off of it. You just hold on. There you go. See, it's off.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
that's a perfect. Yeah,
and it's also recorded. So that right there is recorded on his phone. So I mean, you would have that if he was looking at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so that
we had
leads
such
to
a similar
another
experience,
thing.
and we were all whispering to each other just like your team was, because we knew they're watching.
Yes.
So we're like, it's the camera.
So Jay goes on to now also say that at one point he did have to check the security cameras. That's the only time he turned them on. And you are fondling yourself and banging on the
walls.
And this is supposed to be prior to him cutting the live?
After. I'm guessing after.
Oh, that's after.
Well, no, I don't know. To tell you the truth, because
in his story, he makes it sound like it was after he asked you guys. He said later that night when I was sleeping.
Yeah, it might have been after. Yeah, I think you're right.
He's saying that you were all banging on the walls, and then like, do you like what you see?
You like what you see?
So the point is,
yeah.
He says he turned on the camera, so it recorded, right? In his head, it recorded. If he's going to go on these podcasts and say that you're crazy and you did that stuff, don't you think that should have been shown?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't.
Right.
Right?
Or just the fact that, he said that he's never said a thing until about a month ago. But meanwhile, he gives the person I absolutely despise that used to be in my group, my doll, and lets him put it on the toilet and makes fun of me for 5 months on the internet.
Right. This has been ongoing.
Yeah, for no reason. Like I said, I knew that doll was up, and I just ignored it. You know what I mean? But like I said, he's making it sound like we did all this stuff, and we did absolutely. He was trying to poke at me constantly. I was just ignoring it.
Yeah.
What's he saying?
One story, Elkie and the kids woke up to. Another story, they was all sleeping but him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he even said on one part of his video that only reason he didn't get up and say goodbye was because he was up all night long because he has insomnia. No, because he was watching us till 4 a.m. And then I went to bed probably at 4 a.m. when Alyssa left at 4 because she couldn't sleep downstairs because she knew he was watching her and she felt very awkward. So she left and went home. She's only 30 minutes from that house. I went upstairs and Bill went upstairs and we went to bed. And we laid on those, the big room. And Hammy, I think, was already sleeping in the small room. But that's when he supposedly went to bed because he had nobody else to watch.
I'm just reposting this link because I haven't in a while. So for anyone watching, if you're not already subscribed to Penn Paranormal, please, of course, subscribe. But I'm going to drop the link to part 1, and then you can watch part 2 after. But it's the full video that Mary Jo did. It's like almost 3 hours long, so it takes a little bit to get through. But there's so much proof of the absolute scam and fraud and lies that
the stuff that we're talking about here, we're kind of just talking and telling you how it happened. Mary Jo shows in this video like all the stuff backing up what we are talking about. So you guys wanted to hear the call from Elkie. What video was that on? Was that the second video?
No, it's still in that first video, right after my live, or not my live, like my where there's the
it's right after yours gets
cut. So I want people to understand what happened is a friend of mine put up about them fat shaming me. So Elkie reached out to her, basically telling her all these lies, and then my friend saying, I want to see proof, show me proof, show me proof. And Elkie wanted to call on the phone, and she said, absolutely not. We're going to do this here through text message, because she's seeing what they were doing. And then all of a sudden, this is where she gets this voice message from Elkie.
Yeah,
it's very graphic.
I'm going to play this. So yes, this is a very graphic message. A lot of it's beeped out, right?
You beeped it out. You can tell what's being said, but you beeped it out.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not going to get flagged.
But you can tell. So again, still like I can always tell when something's beeped what the word is. I don't know if it's a hidden talent of mine, but yeah, this is pretty disturbing.
It is very graphic. I'm going to try to beep some of this stuff out, but I am sorry, but I think you need to hear what kind of people they are.
Hi, Alex. This is Elka. I'm sorry. I know you want everything in writing, but I'm getting tired. And, well, I looked everywhere. I also asked my friends, but I don't have it. I don't have it anymore, or I don't know what happened to it. The sites are taken down, so I don't have proof. A lot was said too that night when she had her live here, when I had to shut her down. My friend couldn't find anything either. Well, I apologized twice. I apologized at the podcast, and I don't know what else to do. I'm getting threatening messages all day. My address get blasted over the internet, and this is all paranormal. This is all my private life, okay? I do not plan on going public, but if I'm gonna get pushed in the corner, I guess I have to. But one thing I'll tell you, for someone who says she went through it, it's pretty hardcore that for body shaming, well, I said I'm sorry multiple times, and it's getting harped on it. I just saw, again, my address on YouTube.
Can you pause it real quick?
I don't know. You know what? People who...
Before we continue, I just want to make a point, say something about... She's going on and on about her address. She says, this is all paranormal. This is all my private life. Her big issue seems to be that she doesn't want anyone in the town or anyone in her life to really associate her with or know about the paranormal part of her life. Yet, again, they're the ones blasting their address all over the internet. I just want to make sure everyone listening gets that point, because what she is saying is absolutely delusional.
I don't know if it's that or she's talking about her daughter. That's the only thing I wasn't sure when she kept saying this over and over.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Not yet. She starts talking about the daughter soon. Okay. But she said the words, this is all the paranormal. This is all my personal life.
Okay.
And they're blasting my address all over the internet. Okay. You can play.
Getting sexual assaulted. I have to fight already with that they ask, kind of like you asked for it, or you get treated like from the police like you're a piece of shit. Okay, now I have to defend in the paranormal the same shit because my daughter got said, well, you know what? She deserved it. You know, that guy belongs to some gang, to the Crips or whatever. Okay. And she said, well, I guess she deserved it getting raped by a nigga. Do you think me, I can sit still as a mother? I don't know if you a mother, but you act in the first month when you hear that, okay? And if anything happened here at my house, I'm gonna keep everyone kind of like on post, and I guess then really law enforcement has to get involved. I do not really want to do this, but if anyone wants to know my private life, I guess I have to, because someone feels hurt getting body shamed.
That's not what the
It's
problem
really
is,
sad.
Polka.
I'm sorry. And I don't know. I don't know what else to do. And I'm tired. I'm tired. And if I have any, like she said, the invited to my house, she even said it, who cares? If some nigga. And my daughter was scared out of her mind, and I said, please shut that life down. And I didn't have to explain to her this was my house, and if I say I don't feel safe, you shut it down. And then she comes up with that because I explained to her a little bit what happened to my daughter, and she comes up with this and comes through the back door, and now she had no luck getting us with something else, so she has to go with that, and everyone jumps on the bandwagon. Really, this is really, I don't know, it's really low, but let me know. I mean, if you are gonna do it, I don't go in details, I'm telling you that much, but I also gonna tell what kind of horrible paranormal world is out there, that personal life has nothing to do with business, and I don't know, it's dirty. It's just plain dirty. So yeah, I hope, sorry for the long message, but like I said, I'm tired. I'm typing all day, trying to find stuff, trying to erase stuff, trying to keep up with stuff, and my family is hungry. I have to do some other stuff, but think about it. What would you do? Okay.
She unsent
Well,
she unsent that right away. As soon as that girl was re-recording it, she deleted it. So she didn't think this got out. Now, think if you guys
what would you do? I wouldn't use the N-word over and over again. I know that.
Well, she said I was saying that when they came to the house, when they came to stop the live. She said I said that. Because at first I'm like, oh my God, she's really saying this. And then I listened to it a couple times, and Bill said, no, hon, she's saying that you said that. I'm like,
really?
So
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because
I'll have to go back and listen.
Yeah, she does say that I said that. So people understand, like, if I didn't have this proof, if I wasn't so, again, just for National Ghost Hunting Day, I was only going to do a live. I wasn't really there to investigate. It was just to show to people this house and do a little investigation. If I didn't have all those cameras, I would have been screwed right now. Because that would have been my word against hers. I would have lost my reputation. I would have lost everything, because these people made me seem like a monster. And God, it was a godsend that I just said, you know what, let me put these cameras up. It's the Demon House, just to make sure we don't catch something when we're upstairs, because it was a godsend, because this would have destroyed me or destroyed anybody that goes in that house that didn't have this clip, and they can say anything they want. It would be my word against theirs. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. And thank God I did have the proof, because if I didn't, it would have been bad.
Yeah.
I just hope that everybody watching, like, if you are not familiar with these people and this location, that you have gotten at least the point now.
Yeah.
That they are not safe people to go to, just like you said. There, it's not safe to go to this location. It's run by some very unhinged people. You're not going to get, even if you do get paranormal evidence, and that's the thing, is the location itself, even if you did get a paranormal, an anomaly or evidence somehow caught, right? You're never going to be 1,000% sure that it was evidence, because there's so much interference from the family living next door, the family living above you. This house, Jay did most of it himself or in some contracting, but it was not, when it was turned into this duplex, it was not done very well, in my opinion. You can just tell, right? Like, it's not...
I mean, you'd have to get literally picked up and thrown to say it's paranormal in that house. And that is...
There you go.
Yeah. That will never happen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know, it won't happen.
Exactly.
And then people are having events there still. Why?
That's what's upsetting
That's
me.
Scary.
Right now, that's what's really upsetting me, is like, why? Like, to make money.
That's all it's about.
That's all it's about. And that's what's really sad is, as a paranormal community, I know there's so much paradrama in the paranormal, but as a community, as a whole, hate each other, like each other, everyone should be standing up and saying, not a safe location, not a place to promote, not a place to just go to make money. I don't care if you're an event planner, if you're an investigator, a psychic, whatever you do, we should at least all be in agreement with this.
Right. And I keep on feeling this thing about people with the paranormal drama needs to stop. Listen, I didn't ask for this drama. I've been quiet. I mean, but the last couple, like last month, I had to make a couple because I was getting mad. Like, it was enough already. And I kept saying, I have proof. Stop talking. And I had to do this. But again, you know, people just don't understand. Like, it's not the drama. I'm more worried about people getting hurt or, you know, just going to jail time, you know, 'cause over stupid stuff. I mean, they had a haunted house, or not a haunted house. They had something in their house at one time. Talk about that. Stop saying your house is haunted. Stop saying now it's so bad now you can't live in there. Your daughters can't sleep in there. And then they're sleeping on the floor on an air mattress. And then the next week there's the daughter, the LLC, the 17-year-old, 16-year-old, the LLC, sitting there saying, I wanted this. I have to pay the bills. I need to pay the electric. And I'm like,
right. My parents wanted to move, but I wanted to stay and start a business. And it's like, okay, well, that wasn't told to any of us when the business was started.
Well, that was a hush-hush thing about the LLC. And I guess that's what, now they're the death threats, because I brought up that she was the LLC.
And now they're using her as a shield. Which is sad. Very, very sad. It's sick. Yeah. It's the sickest part of this whole story. Is how they do their kids and how it should be nobody's business. People coming in to have an investigation and then they sit down, they just met you. I'm talking about me, Kris and I and our team when we went. We just met you guys, and you're telling us about this, like, tragic stuff that happened to your kids in front of one of your kids who's a teenager.
Yeah, that was awkward. That was weird.
It was so awkward. And then in your situation, when they told you the child wasn't there, right? It was just Elkie and...
It was just her.
Yeah, but still. And you knew them a little more. You had talked at conventions and stuff, but, like, that's information that should not be shared with the fact that, like, both of us got that and we didn't know them at all.
Well, you heard me. I stopped her. I said, I already know. We already talked about that, because I could see the boys get, like, a little antsy, like, I don't want to talk about it.
Awkward, right?
Yeah, they don't want to hear that. It's a child we're talking about. It's personal. Don't tell strangers you don't know this.
If I was that child, I wouldn't want that all over the community and know that anytime someone's coming to my house for a tour, my parents are telling them about it. Like, what?
Exactly.
And we also got, what was the other story we got? That they had both witnessed a double homicide.
The neighbor,
their next door neighbors?
It wasn't a double homicide. The neighbor killed his wife, and the kids saw him, and so he hopped over the fence to kill the kids as the cops showed up.
Oh, they didn't tell me that one. Surprisingly.
So, if any of those stories are true, which they're probably not, considering all the lies from all the other stories, and that's what Mary Jo was saying at the beginning, guys, is like, half of the stories he talks about with the paranormal stuff that has happened in the past in this house, the only people we can really trust are the people that went there, like Joe Frankie, who went there and had a paranormal experience, and they can say that from their own chest with their
and they
own
have real evidence,
integrity, or they have real evidence, right? But anything that comes out of the Yaples' mouth, you can't trust, because look at all these other lies. Everything they say
Well,
is lies.
And again,
They say the house is from, yeah, and they say that the house is from 1771.
And we have proof that the structure that is there now was built in 1924. Yes, they're like the original foundation, the property itself. There was a house that dates back into like the earlier 1800s, but no, I think it was like
right. It's not the foundation of that house, right?
It was 1850, I think, but
I don't. The foundation, though, right?
I don't think it is, because why would it say the house was built in 1924? That's my opinion, but I think when Danger was here before, Danger said, well, he had found stuff showing that the 1800s was true, but then I'm like, why does everything else say 1924? And it just feels like a house built in the 1920s to me.
I thought he meant the land. It was on the land that held a house from that time, but.
I'd understand that, yeah.
But that's any place.
Any place.
That's not built on that time. That God knows what was built. My house was built in the 70s. So I know there was something before here, but I can't
there
say
was something before then, yeah.
Because a shack was here, 300 years ago. I can't say that.
Exactly. Everything, and then he goes on to tell you this whole story about how the town knows the truth, but won't give him the truth to cover it up. Because it's like, you can't make this stuff up. It's insane.
Well, let me tell you, I'll give you this little bit, and I think I've said it before. When I had to go to a police station before I went to his house, and and I'm not gonna get into that, but I went to the police station, and the guy asked me to make a police report. I had to be somewhere in Enfield. I said, well, I'm going to be at a location tonight. He goes, where? And I told him the address, and he just went like you go from one extreme person to another. That's and I'm good with energy, and the energy I got was, what the fuck? It was like that kind of look. Like,
was it because he was like scared of it, or was he like, you're going
troublemakers? That's what I
crazy.
And even when we got in the car, I said to Bill, I think this is a bad idea. He goes, yeah, I think so. Just the reaction of that police officer's face. And then we get to the house, and Jay's demeanor was mad because he saw Hammy, and then I realized later, because he wanted to sit down and have coffee with us and talk. No, I paid money to go to a location to show people it.
Right.
We're not going to sit here and have coffee. If you would give it to me for free, that would be a whole different thing, because you could talk to me till my ears bleed, because I owe that to you. But I'm paying for a service. You're not going to be here. You need to go. And I did. I was nice until about 9 o'clock. And I'm like, listen, we have to get moving. People are getting mad. And you can read my comments. Where are you? Why are you guys not starting? And Bill was like, we have to go. We have to get started. So I finally, I'm like, Jay, we have to get started. Everybody's mad. Like, we have to get moving now.
And then you got cut off. Then you get cut off. And you, again, you paid for this experience with the understanding and agreement with the owners that you were going to be live streaming, right? We got started late. It was horrible. We brought our cameras. We came with a YouTuber with Tyler has like I say YouTuber as if we're not, but Tyler has like a pretty big channel where he does paranormal videos, and so he got his equipment. We had our equipment for our channel, and we were gonna record like everything. And I think we turned our cameras on. I didn't. Tyler turned his camera on when Jay started talking to get like the history. His battery died because Jay talked so long.
I recorded the whole conversation with Jay at the beginning.
You did too? But and then we didn't record the rest of the night because we were like, it's pointless. We had no interest in sharing this with anyone.
What'd you say, Mary Jo?
Everybody knows me. They know after a location, I will put pictures up. I'll put any evidence. Right. And people are asking, why aren't you putting anything up? And then one of my friends said, listen, you told your followers about this house. They got how many followers? A whole bunch. Now you need to be the better person and tell people, this is what we got. We got nothing. We had but we did it tastefully. But it was like a month and a half later. Because my friend said, you need to tell people not to go there. Like this, we didn't get anything. Because people.
And I did see. But it was later. It was like an update, and it was like several months later that you. And you put it on the event.
Yeah.
So you would have had to like go to the event again that had already happened to even see that update that you wrote there.
Right. But then Jay was already slandering us all over the Facebook anyway. So it didn't even matter. But my friend's like, listen, you need to tell people, like, you owe it to them. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do owe it to them. And that's why we did it. And that pissed them off. But you know what? I had to, you know.
Kris and I were the same. We kept this hush hush. We talked about it. Of course, we talked about it, made fun of them, you know, in our little group chat with us and the people that were there with us that night.
Time out, Boston. They already knew that we were talking shit about them because we didn't realize the ring camera outside, and we were standing outside talking shit about Jay.
Like bad.
They watched it all.
I think we actually talked shit. I think it was like not just talking shit about. Okay, and when I say we, it was mostly Kris and I, right? Like Joe's a super sweet guy. Jamie too. She was very quiet. Tyler, he may have said a few things, but I don't want to say we were all talking shit, but yeah, we were talking shit, and we were probably talking shit about like not just the house and it being not haunted, but we were probably saying some hurtful things about Jay. We're not mean people, but we probably said, oh my God, I can't believe how long he talked. I thought I was going to fall asleep. Like stuff like that, you know? Yeah. And yeah, we didn't know that we were being recorded and that he was watching us on his doorbell cam.
We just watched the blue light. As soon as that blue light went off, we didn't talk bad about them at all. We were just like, I think they're faking stuff. And then at that time, I guess the youngins went to bed, and that's when the equipment wasn't going off. But every time they turned the ring camera, again, it's wireless. Mine has a wire to it. Theirs is wireless. So I think that to me is a stronger one. I have a wireless outside, and if I have to, I will debunk it if I need to. But I already know what it does. But for everybody else to see what the wireless would do to equipment that's sitting on the floor and 6-7 feet away. Not like Jay was sitting when he was smacking it. No, we weren't doing that. I know you guys weren't doing that either. Who does that? Oh, yeah, it's going off. There's, whatever.
Right. I mean, as a paranormal investigator, the first thing you learn to use is a K2, right?
That's the first thing I've ever had.
Right.
This will make sense to you, Mary Jo, the placement of where we were. So the chair Jay sits in, Jamie was sitting there and had the EMF on her leg.
Mm-hmm.
The camera, the only ring camera at that time was the one in the kitchen. So they were having it on and doing something with probably a walkie is what I presume by the wall is what was making it spike. But it wasn't the camera or the camera coming on that was setting it off because the distance was way too far away and not direct.
It wasn't that far, but I wouldn't say it was the camera coming on and off that was causing it to be that strong. It was definitely like we're watching you and we're going deep, deep.
Yeah, because it would be spiked
on our walkies.
Their wall is right there.
Yeah, and we all, as soon as Kris whispered it, we all looked at each other and we instantly started whispering. And the rest of that night, anytime we had something that we wanted to point out, it was like we'd lower our voices because we knew we're being watched, right? Or we're being listened to.
I have a video that Alicia sent me that she was just stating the what is he saying?
He's saying a two-way camera with sound would cause it, even if it was a pretty far distance away.
Yeah, because when her ring camera, their ring camera was on that fireplace. I had the power light sitting on that table there, which was probably about 4 to 5 feet. And I saw, because, she sent me her videos and you could see it scrolling around. You could see the power light all the way up. And as soon as she hit, you could see the blue light on. And I'm like, but it's fast. I could slow it down to where you could see it. But the power light was on high. And she didn't realize, because it was, I guess, very in the beginning, I was upstairs talking on a live. And I could hear myself upstairs talking. So that's how I know I was on a live upstairs. But yeah, you see the power light on, and then you can see the ring camera on. So right there, that distance between the ring camera and that was setting that off.
I don't know too much about. Sorry.
For us, the camera would be on, but the activity we got would come and go. Like the camera was on, and the EMF wasn't going off, and then we'd be like, are you a male or a female? For a male, spike once. For a female, spike 2. And then it'd be like, do. It would spike twice.
So that's a walkie-talkie. That would be a walkie-talkie.
Because we all were like in shock. We're like, whose phones are on? Like, we instantly all went to like, this isn't, you don't have that kind of communication.
Right.
Right. It was too good of communication. And if something is too good when you're on a paranormal investigation, for anyone who is new to paranormal investigating or is interested, if something is too good, get excited, allow yourself to get that excitement because it's fun, but then take a step back and start questioning. And that's amazing. If you aren't able to debunk it, then you've got something incredible and cherish that experience forever. But 9 times out of 10, if it's something too good, you're usually able to find a reason for why it happened.
Well, I had a couple people message me throughout these videos thanking me for standing up because they had the same experience in that house. I had somebody, I'm not going to say names because they didn't say I could say anything, but I'm not going to say names. I had one person say when they got bored, like they were sitting there like, okay, it's getting bored now. Then all of a sudden the equipment started going off. And they also thought it was a walkie-talkie on how all of a sudden they were bored and they were getting tired. And then all of a sudden it was like extreme, like answer, bang, 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 which doesn't work in the paranormal. Like I have haunted objects. I sit there and believe me, I sit there for hours. I'm like, okay, can you answer? Just say hello or say, yeah. I'm like, okay, about time. You're still here. But it takes, how I know, it takes a little bit longer for them to build up that power and that energy. And I really don't want to keep saying this because I don't want to get them any more ideas on their walkie-talkie ideas. But it doesn't work like that in a paranormal. It does not work like bang, bang, bang. Even a demonic case, not bang, bang. And then somebody else wrote to me saying that they were hearing banging where that middle door was. Where that door where in the hallway, they would hear banging there and they would run up the steps. And it was by that bedroom, in that small bedroom, but they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. But they would go back down the steps and again, they would hear it bang, bang, and they would come running up. So I have a bunch of different groups and that was, and they thought it was fake. But until we came out is when they realized we were right. But they're newer. These other 2 groups were newer in the field. So that's why they were like, you know what, well, maybe, it was too good to be true, whatever, and this and that. But then when we came out, like, yeah, we definitely know. And some people actually want to take them to small claims court and sue them for their money back because $400 is a lot of money for a little tiny house that taking stuff.
Yeah. And again, people because I know there's going to be like the people that are supporting them for whatever god awful reason. Money is the only thing that I could think if they think that they're somehow a cash cow and can make money from this. But we are not saying like, oh, these people, they should go sue them. They didn't have a haunted experience. They didn't experience anything. We're not saying that. It's because we understand that the experiences you have there are the scam. They are manipulating them. That is not, that is totally uncalled for this field. It's very messed up. But one thing I wanted to say when you were talking about with equipment, how we just all know it never happens that back and forth. There is a location that I want to highlight to anybody watching that does deserve some attention, some eyes, some ears, and some investigators. I'm going to pronounce it wrong because I always do. Bill Manor? I always say Bill Manor.
Bill Manor.
But Carlos says it different.
I know he says it slightly. I'm not going to try to do the accent, but if you say Bill Manor, everybody knows.
Everyone knows. Okay, Bill Manor in Fremont,
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
The owner's amazing. Leaves the entire property. He doesn't live there or anything. But it's an amazing property. We've always had good experiences. But the last time we were there, Chris was in the basement, and Mary Jo, it was like jaw dropping. He was going back and forth talking to this REM pod, and it was like boom, boom, boom.
I've never heard of this place. Is it Ohio?
Yeah. I'll send you info. I've been there like 5 times. I absolutely
I've been there twice.
Love it.
It's
but
amazing.
I finally, every time I go, I get just a little more activity. But I was by myself in the basement. The REM pod was there, and when I'm by myself, I get going.
3 other people we left.
I get hyped up and I'm going off, and I'm like, I want to see you max that thing out. Just max it out. And then all of a sudden the REM pod just starts going crazy, max it out. And I'm like, stop. And then it just stops. And I'm like, go again. And it just starts going. And
that would be
the
fun,
room I was
Hammy.
in,
we should do a group trip. Sorry, keep going.
Now he does have cameras there, but he's not on the property at all. And the room
And
I
you
was
can
in,
see.
you can
This
see
is
where
important.
the camera.
You can see where the cameras are.
He gives you the monitor to see where he has his cameras, and he tells you that you can move the cameras wherever you want.
That's different. Most of those places that do have it do have no sound. Most of them don't have sound. Most of them don't
there
watch
isn't.
you. Like I have never, of all the places I went to, because he kept on bringing. It's funny. He brought only places that I adore. Which Conjuring House he brought up, and of course he belittled them. And then the people from Wildwood, which he knows that me and Hammy. Well, Hammy's really good friends with them. He brought them up, which we already talked to them, and
Wildwood's great.
That was what Jay said was a lie. She knows that we weren't talking. So again, another lie that Jay put out. But the other one was the Shanley Hotel, which he doesn't even know the Shanley Hotel. He doesn't even live around there. But that's a place that we go to a lot. But they all have cameras. But I've never in any places I've ever been in have ever felt so weirded out like I was. It was like a pervert type feel.
They don't.
In that house.
People don't watch you while you're investigating. Like they've got cameras to catch paranormal activity or for security, but they don't like sit there and watch you. But so there wasn't a cam. So there was a camera that pointed down the hall, but not in the room that he was in. So it would have been way, way, way down the hall at the other end of the basement. So there was literally nothing that could have been manipulated.
And then we got the shadow behind me during it.
Yep.
And then there was a shadow
it was in front of you.
In front of me.
In front of you.
Yeah.
It like bopped down. So yeah, I want to remind people of course there's so many amazing locations, and there are things where you can be like, holy cow. You realize after all these investigations, you realize when, whoa, this is crazy activity. This equipment doesn't normally go off this way. You realize when it's real, and you realize when it's too good to be true, and you realize when you're being scammed.
We were going off for like 45 minutes, and then they're hearing whispering and they're hearing voices, and we're all. Then that's when they clicked in both of their heads, like something's not right here.
What I thought was interesting with your team, Mary Jo, is when you were upstairs, and I believe it was Hammy walked towards the closet and then like came back out, and he was like, "You guys, I'm hearing like voices. Like, can you hear that?" And then I think Alyssa was like, "Yeah, it's like a muffled conversation," but not a single one of you said anything that like, oh, it sounds like a ghost or a spirit talking. You all were like, maybe are there people outside? Because you all could tell this wasn't a disembodied voice, right? Like you could just tell that these were voices coming from above you or outside, or a TV was on something else. There is a difference.
Yeah.
The TV through the wall, yeah.
And they knew it right away.
So, Mary Jo, was there anything else that we didn't talk about through this experience that you want to bring up and talk about?
Not really. It just, I just feel like, the people that go into the house, they go in there and they don't give the experience that they want you to give, or the recognition that it's haunted, that they will go out and bash you and call locations. Their locations won't let you go there, or just just lie about you so nobody will let you come in. Thank God that I know a lot of these places around me. They know that when he called them up that he was lying. So they kind of just like let it go. And then some of them actually blocked him because they knew it wasn't true. And that the drugs and all that stuff, they know that. But for somebody like that, say if you guys went there for the first time, say the Conjuring House, and they didn't know you, I'm not saying this is what happened with
yeah.
Right.
This is the name I just throw out. They might look at you differently. And that's what you have to worry about is them slandering people because for their personal gain. And that's really what it is.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's what Jay's going around, even though, because he doesn't know where me and Boston go. So his story for us is that we fake evidence.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we were fired from Get Haunted for faking evidence. Like, that's wild to me because
I'm dating Rob from Get Haunts now. That's the new thing.
Yeah, just kidding around.
And me, because I'm the only person in New Hampshire, so you're dating me.
I know.
I'm your boyfriend.
I just can't. When I heard that a couple weekends ago, I couldn't stop laughing. You could tell Rob was very awkward about it. He's like, oh, like I'm like, dude, it's a joke. You just have to laugh at it. Don't let it bother you because you obviously it's not true. It's just funny. It's like, okay, who's gonna be next week? That's why you just let it go. Because now people see what kind of liars they are, and just like the rest of them, all the rest of them that's feeding into him also is the other idiots that help him along the line. So they're all feeding into it.
And anyone who knows Lori, knows that she absolutely is not. She is the absolute sweetest. Not at all. And she was called that by Jay. So real sweet guy.
It was too small. I couldn't read it.
She said, according to Jay, I'm a bitch. We all know that's not true. She did a lot there, and I'm sure has lots of stories. Because she was.
Lori. When I talked to them back in the day before I went there, they absolutely adored you. But so don't let them say that because they adored you.
Did. Yeah, exactly. Chris and I keep pinning this because we want you to see that your son is asking your son.
Yes, my son is my inside joke. So
I know. Is Hammy saying talk about shitting on towels, Mom? For real, that story is crazy. It's funny only because we know the truth.
When he said that, I was like, does that make sense? Like there was one towel there. And you know how he knew that? I was going to show you a picture, but it's not coming up on my phone. I found because we have fuzzy handcuffs, like the pink and black fuzzy hand. I actually found a snake that was fuzzy. And I'm like, it's a joke picture. And I'm like, oh, look, now I'm going to have fuzzy snakes now. That's my next thing, be fuzzy snakes. But you just think of what he could think of that one. But yeah, Jay was watching again he was watching our live or watching the cameras. And when we were downstairs getting ready to leave, we know they were up, that we could hear the TV. So it wasn't they were sleeping, they were up. And Hammy or somebody came downstairs and said, do you have any toilet paper? I'm like, I don't know. But if you need toilet paper, there's tissues between the two beds. So right there, and then him and Bill were joking about diarrhea. They're guy thing. I'm just cleaning up, trying to get out of there.
Right.
And they're talking about diarrhea. And that's where Jay got it in the toilet paper, and they didn't look for it. I'm not going to be going rubbing in your cabinets. There's tissues sitting on the table. Go grab some tissues. You'll be good. And that's what they did. And
there's toilet paper underneath the sinks too.
Well, she said she wasn't going to go through the cabinet.
Oh,
yeah, because they asked where the toilet paper was, and I said, well, there's some tissues by the bed if you need them. And that's where we got all this stuff from. Like, and then it developed into me wiping my butt and them touching it and then smelling it. Like, who and why would I leave? Like everywhere I've gone back, made the beds, cleaned up, and I usually have a video. Every single damn location, I have a video of us leaving just in case I catch anything. That one time, because I had a hard trouble breathing, I didn't want to go up the steps again to take the video, and we just kind of packed up the car and stood outside.
Yeah.
And that was the only investigation I think I've ever done. I'll never do that again. I will be bleeding, dying. I'll be still taking that video from now on because I will never do that again. Never, because that one little picture or video would have. Because again, I have all these other proofs, but for him saying I wiped my butt.
We all know that story is just ridiculous. I mean,
I know, but wiping my butt with your towels, really?
Right.
Okay.
And then throwing them on the floor, like how, and he reenacted the scene, and there was like hand towels everywhere.
I know. Okay, just say hypothetically. Hypothetically, I had to do this. Okay, just say hypothetically.
This feels like O.J. Simpson's book right now.
Exactly.
If I did it.
Yeah, with the glove, right? Yeah. But if it happened, okay, and I had to use a towel, okay.
Right.
First of all, I would have used it and used that same one. I would have taken it with me.
Found a bag, thrown it away, like.
I would have taken it with me, and I would have said, "Hey, listen, I had to use a towel, and I felt awkward and disgusting. I took it with me. I'm going to Venmo you $10 to buy a new one.
To buy a new one.
I am so weird like that. Like when he said the boob thing, I'm like, I am so ungodly weird with my personal stuff.
But that's not weird. Like, I feel like most people, if they were in that towel situation, they would do the same thing. They wouldn't leave it on the floor.
Right. Nobody's going to leave it on the floor.
Like, people back in the day didn't have toilet paper. They had to use it. I would have washed it and taken it with me and
rinsed it, washed it, put it, thrown it away, something, and then Venmoed some money and been like, this is so embarrassing, but there was no toilet.
We know what Jay.
Now we all know what Jay would do. We all know what Jay would do.
I will never ever rent anything.
Because he thinks that's
them.
like a thing people do, apparently.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god! Like when he said that, I'm like, no, that's not this scenario. That's what I would have done. It would have gone with me. It would not have stayed on the floor.
Yeah, and like Bill's saying, it's a good thing the static camera ran the entire 3 hours we slept. And in your video that you have, I believe it was part 1. Yeah, it was part 1. But you see them come in, and you can see Hammy is there. Like, you're all in the kitchen talking, and he says in a previous video, when he was talking trash about you guys, that when he came in to stop the live, Hammy was already having trouble, potty issues, and was up pooping.
Yeah.
Or had gone to bed because he was feeling sick from the pizza, like, and you know that's a lie. You can literally see him in the video when they come in to stop the live.
Exactly. And I was up all night having diarrhea, but he said that during the live that I was making, I don't know. I'm trying to look, see if I have the video on here, because I did download it, but it might be on my computer. But it's on my computer. So I have literally the whole time me and Bill slept, but we slept in separate beds. So I didn't care because you only see my feet and my legs. Bill, you see his old back end, but he had clothes on, but I know my husband, he would not want that on the internet.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But it's shared sleeping. And I try to cut my stuff out so you only see me because I could care less. You see my legs and my socks. But you see, I slept for that whole 3 to 4 hours. I never got up. I never used it. And again, the static hallway or the hallway, I used the bathroom once when I first got there, which I don't have on video, but I used it once right before we left. That was it. 2 times when I was there. So explosive diarrhea, and I was making noise. And the only thing they can see is like Dumb and Dumber with the feet up in the air.
Right. That's the scene. And then you turn around and the toilet doesn't flush.
Yeah. Like it didn't happen. So I'm just like, but I could have put that in there and fast motioned it, but I ran out of time. And obviously it would have been like a 10-hour video, but I could have put that on there. I have it.
But you don't, like, in my opinion, you have shown so much proof, and even like more proof than was even needed, in my opinion, because I think that anyone with common sense that just watches the things coming out of Jay's mouth, even if something sounds like kind of normal, 5 seconds later he says something insane, like, and then like all these people in the chat were like, I want to come over, and they want to come over for like have a sex party and a drug party, and the cops are going to come. I don't want people getting shot up, and if I was 20, I'd come to a paranormal part. And he says that, and then the special forces rabbits chewing wires, guys. And so any common sense person just has to listen to him to understand that he's full of shit and that he's lying. It's easy. What you did, though, was provide proof to further show maybe the people that don't have common sense, because there's a lot of them out there, unfortunately, that he's full of shit.
But again,
and that
if
he's
I
dangerous.
didn't have that proof, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
And then telling people that I called as a cop. And you know, I went to my police station and I got the police report, and I told them what he said. And Elke, even said the officer's name in the background. Basically said that this guy was not a cop, and that this and that, and she said his name. I mean, I'm not saying this to like scare them, but that's bad. You just lied on social media that I had somebody call, and that wasn't a cop. It said his name on the thing, and then said you called my township, and then they told you to call Enfield police right away and report it because they're scared for their life. I don't even have, like, when I went to Enfield, when they had to do that search I went there for, because of another person that lives in Enfield. Don't drink the water in Enfield if you go there, people, okay? Just do not drink the water. Something's wrong. But anyway, when I went there, it was like, the guy's like, I can't even find a parking ticket under your name. You're not going to be arrested. You don't have a warrant out for your arrest. Don't worry about it. You don't have a parking ticket. He started laughing.
Yeah.
But that's when he said, I need an address. Where are you going to stay tonight? And that's when I said that. He's like, what? Yeah. So, but yeah, so, I don't know. And then looking up my gun record. Why are you looking up my gun record? And why are you telling people that I threatened somebody with a gun?
Right.
But then again, I did say,
and threatening to give you a TBI. Like, there's been so much over the line.
hit me, because you know what? I can fight. So hit me. I dare somebody to hit me. That's what I have to say. I dare somebody to hit me, because the only thing I need is that one thing. You hit me and it's game on.
But what man even makes a joke about that? About, I'm going to give her, she won't be the only one with the TBI if she comes to my house. Like, what man jokes about that in regards to
he's not
hurting a woman?
He's not
like, no. Yeah. No, he's something else. He's something else, all right. So I hope that I think that this live, along with your part 1, part 2 videos, are hopefully going to really change the tide. And it's, I'm happy to hear that a lot of their stuff has either been locked down or taken down. Because I did check, was it their YouTube? Their YouTube, all those videos are gone.
Yeah, because they have a cease and desist. That's why. They're supposed to take it all down. They got it probably like Saturday or Monday, because I was done. I went to a lawyer and he says, you don't even need a cease and desist. You get harassment and stalking. You get all that. You don't even do this. And then, no, do the cease and desist first, and then we'll go from there. And that's exactly what I told them. And they did. They got the cease and desist, but there's still a lot of stuff on there. You know that.
Well,
I haven't even brought up yet.
It's a start, though. It's a start, right?
Yeah.
So that's good news. I can't imagine anybody with, again, common sense, a good heart, in the paranormal world, who would hear these facts and still support that location. And yes, it's about the location, and it's about the people.
I mean, I feel bad
have an issue with both,
because it did have something bad in it. Because like I said, I did talk to the previous people that stayed in that house, and because they had a good story, but they screwed it up. Mm-hmm. They got greedy about it, and that's why a lot of people walked away from it in the very beginning, because they were only caring about money. Yeah. But that being said, like, I know what's going to happen from now on is they're going to start crying. They're going to start saying that they're having mental issues or stress issues because of this, and that they're being affected, and and I'm saying this now on live so it can come back and I can say, look, guys, I told you this was going to happen. So they're going to start crying, complaining that I mentally stressed them out, that I caused them health issues, or the demon in the house did this to them. It was the demon in the house. I bet my life on it. That's the next thing they're going to say. The demon made us do this. The demon made us talk like this. The demon is
well, Rob's the devil.
Huh?
Rob is the devil. I'm sure you've heard that.
No,
Oh, Jay going on and on about how Rob's the devil and he's taking people's souls and like.
Oh, that's where the cult comes from.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think that's a whole other thing.
See?
Oh, yeah, that's different. Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Oh, I don't know. That's a whole other issue for Rob.
That's a whole other.
Okay, I see. You see, like, I really, like, yeah. I don't know.
We're with you. It's a crazy para world out there, guys.
But mark my words, the demon did this to them. I guarantee the demon's in the house and they're making them do it.
Or we said horrible things about their children and their town is going to come beat them up or bully them in some way because of us. Because we said bad things. Which I feel horrible for these kids. There's nothing wrong with these kids. It is that they have some really sick parents. I think the kids are sweethearts, and one of them in particular is unfortunately being used as a shield, and it's disgusting, and she is saying some not so nice things because her parents are encouraging her to do so, and that's where she feels her love and attention. That's all I'm going to say about the kids, but I want it to be known that we wish absolutely no ill will. And that's part of the reason we stayed quiet for so long, to be honest. It was, we could have immediately come out, done a live and been like, oh my God, that place was such a joke, and like had fun with it, right? But because a family lives right next door and they're using it as a source of income, and because there were kids there, we all decided collectively not to say anything. When I say collectively, I mean me, Kris, Jamie, Joe, and Tyler were like, it doesn't need to be public. But of course we told Rob the experience that we had. And he continued working with them. But he sure as hell didn't fire us.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I was talking to Mackenzie because, like, Mackenzie was there, but what's the other child's name? Oh God. What's the other child's name? So it's Mackenzie who LLC. Courtney, that's right. Thank you. So Courtney wasn't there. She was back at the hotel. So I was talking to Mackenzie and I said, yeah, I got this weird feeling that you're going to be like the lady from the parents, Andrea. That's what you're going to be. You're going to tell the story, what happened in your life and this and that.
Yeah.
But again, I did not know what was going on in his house at the time. I was like, you know what? This could be your thing. You could tell the stories, what happened to you, if you remember your child, or if it's still going on, you can do that book. And I was giving them encouragements. Yeah. And meanwhile, her mom's holding the doll that she had to have so bad. Like I was trying to be so nice that, like, hey, listen, this would be perfect for you, this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. And look at this, that she wants to do this, and I'm a horrible person. And that, if I was in school, that I'm thinking, wow, that really turned over really fast. And I was always nice to you.
But you know that it's, unfortunately, especially at this age, and I'm sure their entire lives, but you know that it's because of the way their parents, I think that they get the attention from their parents when they're supportive in the paranormal stories, etc.
Hey, Gabby.
Everyone, just to send you all my from Brazil.
Yes, she's one who loves the Conjuring House. Absolutely adores the Conjuring
That's
House.
one of our favorite places. Very special place. Well, welcome again to anybody who might be watching this. If you are not subscribed to Horror Road Trip, please do so. And then
subscribers. So
we did awesome. And then I hope any of our people that are watching that are not yet subscribed to Penn Paranormal.
I just dropped the link a
please
little while ago.
Okay. Yeah. Please make sure to subscribe because she is the real deal. You've been doing this for quite a long time, and I mean, we could have a whole other episode just interviewing you on your paranormal experiences and the things that you've done, the shows you've been on, the craziest encounters you've had.
There's a lot, yeah. But again, I record them all. You have to. Like I said, if that was my house, I would have a backup of everything. Every haunted object I have has a paper, has a story, has the people who gave them to me, what they experienced, because you have to have that. Right. You have to have that. And just like your house. Like I said, I have evidence for my house, like my room going, the doll's cabinet, things getting thrown at me, literally things getting thrown at me. And I don't even post it anymore because my husband's like, stop posting that stuff. You're going to freak people out. So, but I have it. Yeah. They don't have nothing. That's the thing. And that's what I think when I'm like looking and and trying to dig to find evidence of this place and I couldn't find any.
We did the same thing. And that says a lot because I don't do that for a lot of locations because I don't feel like I have to for a lot of locations. But for this location specifically, we, a few days passed and we were like, something ain't sitting right. And we started researching to try to see if there was something that would match up with what he was saying. And instead we found the opposite of about a lot of his story, sadly.
Just TV shows and news clipping but
it's always his story. And then the only facts that we can match is the names of some of these mobsters and that there was a murder, but it was down the street. It wasn't in that house. Yeah. So.
And I'm actually looking forward to hearing what Joe Frank had to say about the house too. And he did tell me some stuff, and that the entity was going after Chloe, not Mackenzie. It was always going after Chloe. And I said, because I do demonology, and I'm like, well, that would make sense because she's the innocent one. She's that sweet innocent soul, where the other one's a little bit more aggressive. Do you know what I mean? Like you could tell it's her personality. It's not just how she was, but it's her. But Chloe's very sweet, very loving. She just had this really perfect glow to her. And you see her, you'll understand. But I can see why that entity was attacking
we've seen
her.
I remember walking in and afterwards it was probably when we were outside talking shit, and I was like, they're all in on these like insane stories. And we walk in and she was just sitting on the couch because we got a tour of the basement. That turned out great.
Yeah, we didn't get that at all.
But she was
they
just
told me it
sitting
was
very
locked up.
peacefully on the couch, and I'm like, this poor girl, she wants nothing to do with this. She's looking around like, leave me out of it. So
You didn't miss anything with that basement.
Yeah, talk about the basement, because I was told it was closed off. There's no basement. There's no nothing. They sealed it up.
No.
So I
well,
thought
it's sealed up on
sealed.
your side. It's sealed up
Yeah.
on the duplex side, the side that you can take tours. There's no
Yeah.
way to get down there from that side.
Okay.
Right.
I'll let Chris talk about the basement.
Yeah, so on their side, first you got to walk through their side of the house where he tells you that there is blood stains of a dead person under their couch, but he can't move it. It's just too much, so he's not.
But it never was
off.
tested. It was. I asked him. It was never tested. It's hearsay that it's
Did you
blood.
see
I
it?
think it's blood. No, he wouldn't show it to me. I asked him where it was.
Yeah.
And he said he's at the other side. I'm like, but that's where you said the paranormal experience is. So why is it on the other side? And I asked him, can I see it? And they said no. So that was a big no real fast.
You then go into the kitchen where you see cages of rabbits and the chinchilla and some hamsters and all that, just all over in the kitchen. And then you go down into the basement. Now, when you go into the basement, it is... You got to put your hands on the walls to walk because there's so much garbage on the ground. And not just garbage, like clothes and...
But the walls are boxes.
Really?
It's not garbage.
So
it's like hoarding.
And it's like a maze.
There's
like
tunnels.
You got to go all around of shit
of stuff.
Like the prep, like the doomsday preppers, like canned goods and things like that. And there is just nothing but massive amounts of wires, just like
everywhere, hanging
coming
along
down and like there's no rhyme or reason to them, and they're just everywhere.
And Joe, who was Joe Renone, said out loud, he's like, "Oh man, who did all this electrical work or whatever?" He said that to Jay when we were down there, and Jay's like, "Oh yeah, we had," and of course, this guy who came down, and we had a few, but they all left because of paranormal. Sound familiar, right? Mm-hmm. Workers on the house that left because of paranormal, just like the solar panels that aren't on the roof.
Yeah,
are there.
They're afraid of the paranormal. That's why they couldn't.
Right. But Joe said, "Oh man, like I'm getting a lot of EMF energy because I guess he's very sensitive to it. Some people are like really sensitive to it, and he's like, I'm getting that like big time. This is like a total fear cage because there are just wires everywhere." That you can tell it was shitty work.
And then you get to a spot where there's this crawl space.
That's the part I told you about.
And you can see it. It's just like, you can't get to it though, because there's like boxes in front of it. And then you can just see like you could crawl under the house a little bit. And they say that they see things under there.
It's scary.
And the dog.
That was a spooky part.
It's a spooky part, yeah. Don't get me wrong.
It was dark,
like,
dark, and it was like dirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then their little dog kept trying to get in there, and they're like, "Oh, that's the first time he's ever tried to do that before." And I'm thinking, no, I
you trying to escape?
Yeah. Poor dog's like, "How do I get out of this?"
Gotta get the fuck out of here, guys. You don't even know. When you guys leave, I'm alone with them.
Oh, no.
That's why we didn't see any of the dogs. You probably knew I would take them home.
Oh god.
Well,
yeah, and then another story. Oh yeah. Okay.
No,
Chris is like trying to leave. I just want to say the one story about the lamp because that like when we walked.
So here's my thing with the lamp that I don't.
Chris,
it wasn't directly stated, right? So, all right. So I walked in Boston. Everybody else is back at the car. Are you talking about when I walked in, lamp?
No.
Oh, okay. Then tell your story.
The huge. So when to get to the basement, you have to walk through their house, obviously, and he kind of described it. But like, just like the basement is full of stuff, their side of the house, it's not messy. It's very clean, but it's just full of stuff, like the walls, the couch. It's tchotchkes, yeah, like everywhere. But some really beautiful stuff. And one thing that he pointed to, like we were all kind of sitting in the living room, he's telling us the story about the blood under the couch that we can't see, and he's like trying to tell us more haunted stories, which we already got like 3 hours of. You know what that feels like, Mary Jo. Yeah. But he points at this lamp and goes, "See that lamp right there? Go try to pick it up. Go try to pick it up." And so I tried to lift it. It was like a bronze. It was over 100 pounds. I could not lift this thing by just going like this. It was a table lamp with like beautiful metal, I don't know, metal and stained glass and whatever. But it had this point, like, which was kind of, it was dull, but it was like a point on the top of the lamp. You know what I mean? Most lamps have that, right? Mm-hmm. Like this point thing. He tells us that this lamp, and they all witnessed this. They were in the room when this happened, got picked up, thrown through the air. And when he says thrown, I'm thinking this is one of the tiniest rooms I've ever been in. How far was it thrown and from where? And I have all these questions. Turned upside down and then went ding into the ground. And then he points at this little like divot in the ground and says that lamp was thrown with such force that it got stuck in the ground upside down. That would have been the biggest poltergeist activity, other than, of course, a person getting shoved or thrown, that I had ever heard of. I'm sitting there like, how would this have happened? And also, like, if you've lived here for that many years, if something like that level where, like, oh God, I could be killed, was happening in the place that I lived.
With my kids.
With him or kids there.
Yeah.
And he got offered twice cash for that house, and he turned it down for money. So.
Yeah, he didn't want to move. It's cash grab. But, all right, ladies, we're coming up on 2.5 hours. Mary Jo, thank you so much for being up here with us. Everybody, please, if you haven't already, Penn Paranormal, where you can go and watch these in the entirety. And I'll tell you what, there's so much proof. Amazing job with that video, Mary Jo.
And other than just that, she did an amazing job. But other than just that, you guys can follow along with all Penn Paranormal's paranormal investigations, where they go to actually like locations that are cool and awesome and collect evidence. And you guys are, I really appreciate. But I think Kris and I need to plan a trip with your team sometime, maybe even Bill Manor in Ohio, who knows? But I think that your investigation style is very similar to ours. And I got that from watching your live at the Enfield. That was funny.
Again, we were joking around. I mean, you have to. You
got to have fun. Yeah. When it's time, the time is to be serious and respectful, and the time where you up the energy, it helps get the spirit energy up, in my opinion. Yeah.
And thank you so much to everybody in chat. So many new faces and all of our returning people. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. It was a great night, and everybody, please have a very good night. Bye.
Yes, thanks, guys.